How we all doing? Welcome to another Monday. The last Monday of 2025. Correct. All right. So, well, give me a second here. I know we've got a lot of news to get to. A whole bunch, so we'll just get to it. Everything's set up here. Should be up on YouTube. Okay. Nope, not happy. Yeah. There we are. All right. Let's go. There we are. See if I have anything tagged first up. Which I don't think I do. Nope. I think we all covered that. All right, let's go. The bottom of the pile. Put you guys up on my PC here. There we are. Morning, YouTube. Hello, hello. There's my. All right, good. All right, there we are. White House on the meeting with Zelensky.
Our meeting was excellent. We covered, somebody would say 95%. We have made a lot of progress on ending that war, which is really certainly the most deadly war since World War II. I really believe we're probably, Mr. President, by far closer than ever before. Our meeting.
Dang. Kicking ass with the footage. It's beautiful stuff. Lovely. All right. President Trump participates in a bilateral meeting. President of Ukraine, I assume. Yes. Oh, it's super short.
Anyway, also
It's very conducive to deals.
Conducive to deal. What is conducive to deals? I missed it.
Are you okay? Is everyone fine? Margo, if you would, I think you could sit outside and have some food. Would you like to have some food, or do you consider that a bribe? And therefore you cannot write honestly, or therefore you have to write a bad story. Okay, because if you'd like, would you like something to eat at this time? Yes or no? You can speak. Yes, sir. Yes? Okay. Margo, yes, take them outside, tell the chef, serve them a little lunch. Okay?
Thank you, press. Thank you, press. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you, press. Thank you, press.
Offering food to the press. Probably quite fine dining, I imagine.
Thank you, press. Thank you, press. Here we go. Thank you.
Certainly wouldn't turn that down. Okay. Doot.
Are you okay? Is everyone fine? Margo, if you would.
Excuse me, we just watched that. We'll keep going.
Terrific meeting. We discussed a lot of things.
Good, like we got a good set of review clips here. I missed all this, so glad we're getting this. After an hours-long meeting, President Trump says he's a lot closer to peace in Russia and Ukraine.
Terrific meeting.
We discussed a lot of things. As you know, I had an excellent phone call with President Putin that lasted for over 2 hours. We discussed a lot of points, and I do think we're getting a lot closer, maybe very close. The President and I just spoke to the European leaders. They were President Emmanuel Macron of France, President Alexander Stubb of the Republic of Finland, President Karol Nawrocki of the Republic of Poland, Prime Minister Jonas Gahr Store of the Kingdom of Norway, Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni of the Italian Republic, Prime Minister Keir Starmer of the United Kingdom, Britain and Northern Ireland, Chancellor Friedrich Merz, the Federal Republic of Germany, Secretary General Mark Rutte, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, President Ursula von der Leyen of the European Commission. We spoke to all of those great leaders. They're all great leaders. And we had a great talk with them after we were completed. We thought it was appropriate to speak with them. And our meeting was excellent. We covered, somebody would say 95%. I don't know what percent, but we have made a lot of progress on ending that war, which is really certainly the most deadly war since World War II, probably the biggest war since World War II. And I want to thank Steve Witkoff, who's here, and I'd like to thank Jared, who's here someplace. Thank you, Jared. Thank you, Steve. What a great job you've done. Jared Kushner, Steve Witkoff, and Marco Rubio is here. Thank you, Marco. And Pete Hegseth is here.
That's it. Everybody's there. All right.
It's an honor to have you at Mar-a-Lago and have lunch. I hope you enjoyed the food. Your people enjoyed the food. I can tell you that. You're big, strong people. Your general over there looks like Central Casting. I want to also, by the way, speaking of generals, we have a great general. It's an honor to have you at Mar-a-Lago and have lunch. I hope you enjoy. Thank Steve Witkoff, who's here, and I'd like to thank Jared, who's here someplace. Thank you, Jared. Thank you, Steve. What a great job you've done. Jared Kushner, Steve Witkoff, and Marco Rubio is here. Thank you, Marco. And Pete Hegseth is here. Those two people are doing an unbelievable job. And the four people on this one are doing, I don't think anybody could do it. And we'll see if it gets done, but it's very close. Thank Steve Witkoff, who's here, and
Oh, talking about the election, 2020 election.
And
Up there.
a lot of very brave people. A lot of people that are dead right now, unfortunately, because I've said, and nobody's disputed it, that if the election weren't rigged and stolen, 2020, you wouldn't have had this war. Would have never happened, and it didn't happen for 4 years. Never was even thought to happen. And I spoke with President Putin. I got along with him very well, despite the Russia hoax, which was a total hoax. He used to say, what is going on over there? But it was a total hoax, as he knew and as I knew. But I spoke to him, and we'd talk about Ukraine. I've said it before. It was the apple of his eye, but he wasn't going to do anything about it. He didn't do anything about it until I was gone. And then a lot of really bad statements were made by people, by a lot of people, I guess, and a lot of very brave people. A lot of people that are dead right now, unfortunately, because I've said, and nobody's disputed it, that if the election weren't rigged and stolen, 2020, you wouldn't have had this war. Would have never happened, and it didn't happen for 4 years. Never was even thought to happen. And I spoke with President Putin. I got along with him very well, despite the Russia hoax, which was a total hoax. He used to say, what is going on over there? But it was a total hoax, as he knew and as I knew. But I spoke to him, and we'd talk about Ukraine. I've said it before. It was the apple of his eye, but he wasn't going to do anything about it. He didn't do anything about it until I was gone. And then a lot of really bad statements were made by people, by a lot of people, I guess. And
Offered to travel to Ukraine and speak to their parliament if it means ending the war.
I have no problem with doing it. We don't anticipate it. Would like to get the deal done and not necessarily have to go. I've offered to go and speak to their parliament, and if that would help. I don't know if that would help. I think it would probably help, but I don't even know if that's.
You're welcome.
Yeah, no, I know.
Always.
So I'm not sure that it would be really necessary, but if it would help save 25,000 lives a month or whatever it may be, I would certainly be willing to do that. Russia's going to be helping. Russia wants to see Ukraine succeed. Once it sounds a little strange, but I was explaining to the president, President Putin was very generous in his feeling toward Ukraine succeeding, including supplying energy, electricity, and other things at very low prices. So a lot of good things came out of that call today. But they were in the works for 2 weeks with Steve and with Jared and Marco and everybody.
Did Russia agree, or did Putin agree to a ceasefire to allow a referendum to take
Not a
place?
ceasefire, and that's one of the points that we're working on right now. No, not a ceasefire. He feels that, look, they're fighting and to stop, and then if they have to start again, which is a possibility, he doesn't want to be in that position. I understand that position. Russia's going to be helping.
Hmm.
Thank you. Thanks for lunch.
I don't know. Was it a good lunch? Yes, sir.
Thanks for lunch, they said.
He walked in. He said, "This place is gorgeous." I don't think he wants to go to the White House anymore.
Apparently they received sliced steak, pigs in a blanket, coconut shrimp, and French fries. Oh, and a chocolate chip cookie, and a water bottle with the Trump name on it.
I'm ready to go to the White House.
I know. It is. The White House is a very special place, and so is this. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Bet it was a very good lunch. Really good. Freaking shrimp, man. Yeah, give me that shrimp. That in a second. Oh, yeah. Oh, Trump meeting Netanyahu. Well, today at 1 p.m. Interesting. Right after meeting with Zelensky. Huh. Okay, Speaker Johnson says the House Oversight Committee is demanding data, Tim Walz and AG Keith Ellison, and requesting interviews with Minnesota officials who allowed or participated in this fraud. Oh shit. His jaw-dropping reporting is an indictment of both the national news media and feckless, dangerous office holders in Minnesota like Tim Walz, who've allowed these massive fraud schemes to occur for years. No more. Yep. Crazy stuff. Here's the young man himself on Fox News here.
A problem here when they can't even
Surely.
spell on the side of a learning center, Nick?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I have to give props to the man by the name of David who helped me in this investigation. He's been doing research for years trying to expose this fraud, and nobody has given him the time of day to even talk about this. So with his help and my own investigation, I've known about the fraud taking place for a long time. Minnesotans have been telling me for a long time about the similar fraud that is taking place. And with his help, we were able to crack over $110 million in fraud in one day. And that's just the tip. When people say it's the tip of the iceberg, it really is, because there's billions of fraud inside the state of Minnesota right now.
Nick, kind of on that topic, you said that, I believe you just said his name was David, has been researching this for years. In your experience or in your opinion, just spending the day you spent out there tracking this down, is there any way that this hasn't reached the governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz? I mean, take aside ongoing litigation or what have you, but is there any way that he could claim ignorance on this, just in your experience over this investigation?
Oh, it's so obvious. If you're living in Minnesota, you have to raise your eyebrows and think, what's going on? Literally, if you drive around Minnesota, right?
You'd have to stick your head in the sand to pretend that this is not happening. I imagine it's like really bad.
Around Minneapolis, you will see daycare centers, autism centers. You will then see transportation companies that have snow piled up as if they haven't moved in months. And then you also go into buildings where there'll be 20 healthcare companies, 14 and 22, the video that I published on X and YouTube. So it is like a kindergartner could figure out that there's fraud going on.
Nick, one of the most shocking things to me in the video that you posted was the reaction of some of the Somalis that you were interacting with. The one clip where they called the cops on you for simply asking about some of the healthcare companies, the 20 healthcare companies that were located in one building.
Building in a single building. Sweet Angel Childcare, which receives $1.26 million in CCAP funding. Their phone number goes directly to the office of Tim Walz. What?
So guys, this is absolutely mind-blowing. So I was watching the most recent video by Nick Shirley exposing these daycare centers. Now, they're going daycare to daycare, and the next one that they go to is called Sweet Angel Childcare. This is where they show up to. And this is the business right here. Sweet Angel Childcare.
Oh, well, I guarantee you someone just did that. Like, it is a joke.
And Minneapolis, Minnesota. Now listen to,
like, you can go like add business information to listings on Google. I guarantee you that's what happened here.
To where this phone number goes to when you call this childcare center.
Odds are they didn't have a listing up, or it had no info, and someone just went in there and added Tim Walz's phone number to be funny, which it is.
Just wait for it.
Thank you for contacting the office of Governor Tim Walz and Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan. Our office is located at 130 State Capitol at 75.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be more believable if they had a sign with the number on it and this wasn't a Google listing. Okay. President Trump spoke with Russian President Putin by phone before his meeting with Zelensky. Trump said he thinks both leaders are ready for peace.
President Trump says Ukraine and Russia.
Oh, come on now. What the? This shit again? All right. Where were we here? Here we are.
President Trump says Ukraine and Russia are closer than ever before to ending their war, while insisting that Vladimir Putin is serious about peace this time. The president greeted Ukraine's leader Volodymyr Zelensky in Florida to discuss a revised plan. CBS's Willie James Enman is traveling with the president and has new details tonight from West Palm Beach. Willie James.
Jerika, good evening to you. Today, the president said it could be clear within weeks if the war in Ukraine can end. And earlier in the day, he spoke with President Putin of Russia, adding that he believes both Putin and Zelensky are ready for peace.
Today, President Trump welcomed Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to his Mar-a-Lago home for what he says are the final stages of talks to end the nearly 4 years of fighting after Russia invaded Ukraine.
There are one or two very thorny issues, very tough issues, but I think we're doing very well.
The meeting taking place following a weekend of violence as hundreds of Russian drones and missiles pummeled Ukraine's capital, Kyiv.
If things don't happen, they keep fighting and they keep dying. and we don't want that to happen.
The 20-point U.S. peace proposal has been changed with input from Ukraine after an initial draft was criticized for including much of the Russian point of view. President Putin's demand list includes Ukraine giving up the Donbas region, the country's industrial heartland.
That's an issue they have to iron out. But I think it's moving in the right direction.
The Ukrainian leader said his nation cannot give up territory without a national referendum.
Our society has to choose and has to vote because it's their land, the land not of one person, it's the land of our nation.
Zelensky also says he wants security guarantees from the West and a commitment to protect Ukraine's sovereignty.
We agree that security guarantees is the key milestone in achieving lasting peace.
The two leaders also discussed an economic prosperity plan that extends to 2040 and includes investment opportunities and funding for rebuilding in Ukraine. The president will be heavily focused on foreign policy in the next few days, as he is also expected to sit down with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Monday.
And a key focus of that meeting between the president and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will likely focus on implementation of Phase 2 of the Gaza peace plan, as well as the return of the remains of the last Israeli hostage.
There's still hostages, huh? Sheesh. Zelensky says he and European leaders to meet Trump in Washington next month. Another round. What is this? It has been revealed that Lakeisha M. Alston, the woman running for election as a Republican in North Carolina Senate District 22 in full hijab, is actually a lifelong Democrat, according to her public voter records. She's been voting Democrat since 2008. Let's deal with the trash bag. She's running as a Republican, huh? Why?
Congressman, it sounds like you're saying that inherent contempt, holding these officials in inherent contempt, or even the possible a vote on impeachment of someone like Pam Bondi.
Or restricted funding. Yeah,
or restricting funding. It sounds like, though, that may not happen until or if Democrats actually win the House in 2026. Is that right?
Yes, and so we have to telegraph that that's what we are willing to do if we are given the majority.
Congressman, it sounds like you're saying that inherent contempt, holding these officials in inherent contempt, or even the possible...
So if they win the House, they're going to be impeaching everyone they can. Oh, out of the number 2 Somali hotspot in America, Columbus, Ohio. American woman gets slammed in a hit and run by a Somali migrant with no insurance. He bolts from the scene and then tries to, of course, they all do this. After he gets caught, he tries to flip it and claim that it's her fault. It's actually her fault and that she hit him. They all do it. The moment they're backed into a corner, they all just get like mega over hyper defensive and start playing the blame game and try to like skate. It's ridiculous. Every one of them do it. It's not just a Somalian thing either. It's like something about that part of Africa.
I just had a hit and run, and I called the police, and they came over and did a police report, and I gave them a description of the vehicle, and some nearby police officers that were patrolling the area found the vehicle in a parking lot. And now the people that hit my car are telling the police that I hit them, that I backed into them. The police, of course, do not believe them. And the police officers, obviously, since I couldn't drive my car to the scene where these people were, gave me a ride in their car. So I am in the back of...
Look at these disgusting creatures. Just look at them.
Police cruiser right now, and they also...
What would you even call this body type?
So said that they...
Oh, I mean, look at that.
They didn't want me to speak directly to the people because they were kind of just being really boisterous and loud, and they didn't think it would be safe for me to exchange information. They said that they do not have insurance because they are from Somalia.
Oh.
And they are planning to go back to Somalia.
Right.
I'm not sure if any of that is even true.
None of it's true. Other than the part about being from Somalia. Yeah, they're not planning to go back. Get real. Come on. They're planning to continue living off the public tit. What they're planning on doing, if they can help it. City of Chicago providing these signs to businesses to hang in their windows, barring ICE from entering. The actual city. The city of Chicago is providing this. Oh my gosh, they are. Complete with a website. Chicago.gov/protect. You do not have consent to enter for civil immigration enforcement purposes. Hopefully they just ignore the sign and just do it anyway. Because screw that. Okay. Oh, hold on. Mike Lee.
It's time to bring back the prohibition. Look, there's no good reason in a free society like ours for our government to be manipulating its own people. And that's why I've introduced a bill to bring back this prohibition in Smith Month. And in honor of our friend who lost his life a week ago, I'm naming it the Charlie Kirk Act. Charlie was a big fan of limited government and was a deep skeptic of the brooding, omnipresent government that we often face today, and would have been thrilled to be honored by a measure to bring back Smith Month bearing his name, and we've got to get this passed.
Yeah, this is so important. I mean, you saw it firsthand. If you were, if you were alive during COVID, you know the propaganda that was done by our government in league with big pharmaceuticals and the media. That was all propaganda, and they could get away with it because the Smith Monk Act had been repealed. All of the stuff that you have gone through with propaganda, where they're setting up, truth squads, where the government will say what's true and what's not. All of that happened because of the repeal of this act in 2011.
Modernization. It was not repeal. It was modernized.
Want to stop it? You have to put that back in, and he is calling it the Charlie Kirk Act.
I have yet to hear a really good, effective defense of the repeal of Smith Month. Not in 2012 when it was passed as part of the National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2013, and not since then. People are actually afraid to defend it, and they're afraid with good reason. You say, no, the American people don't take kindly to that. The American people don't take kindly to their overly paternalistic, sort of dark overlord government trying to tell them what to think, trying to tell them, here's the official position of the United States government. We're not actually going to tell you that that's what's doing it. We're just going to use the same techniques that we use overseas to try to get what we want in other countries on American voters. That's wrong. Because you're taking money from the American people, you're spending it to tell them what to think and therefore how to vote, and that's wrong. And I really don't think there are very many Americans. I suspect this one would poll overwhelmingly in favor of restoring the prohibitions of Smith Month, and that's what we've got to do.
All right, photographing. The photographer behind iconic Trump photo. Looks back at 2025. It's got to be, what's his name? Mills?
In the ear.
Doug Mills?
In Butler, Pennsylvania. Evan Vucci, Associated Press chief
What else?
photographer in Washington. Thank you very much for being here. Donald Trump comes back to Washington earlier this year. January 20th, his second inauguration. What image do you remember from that day?
I mean, the image that stands out in my mind, just because we were just talking about it, is he reaches into his desk drawer and he pulls out a letter that you had asked, hey, did President Biden leave you anything?
Oh, what's in there? Thank you, Peter. It could have been years before we got it.
And, you know, he went and he did an interview after that, and he said people thought that it was like a shtick that he and I had worked out ahead of time. We did not. I actually did not see that it was addressed to 47, even though I was standing right there talking to him, until I saw your picture of that. I might have to get you to sign that picture, actually. You beat everybody in the world, every journalist on every beat, to a really, really big story. The war in Gaza was still raging, and you zoomed in on a note that President Trump was handed during an event by the Secretary of State Rubio that said, very close, we need you to approve a Truth Social post soon so you can announce deal first. How hard was it to get that shot?
So look, I tell people all the time that I am a professional observer. And we kind of talk about our spidey sense with photographers. And I knew something was off because Secretary of State Rubio never had a nameplate at this meeting. He wasn't supposed to be in the meeting. He was standing in the back halfway through. He showed up, and I knew immediately, like, something's different here. He walked over to where Susie Wiles was sitting and was sort of in a hurried state. And he's usually very calm, very chill. And I'm like, man, something's going on here. Reaches over, he starts scribbling on this notepad. And the President of the United States is talking at this time, but I didn't even put my lens on him. I was on Rubio the entire time because I knew something was about to happen just because his body language is this way. So I got my lens trained on him the entire time. He's writing the note and he turns to rip it, and I got 2 frames off and I could read it.
And when you take a picture like that, how long does it take you to, 1, realize what you've got, and then 2, blast it out?
And the note basically said something like, what was it, like, we need you to approve a Truth Social post first before we announce a deal or something.
To the wires so that everybody in the world can see it.
I would say, but between the time I hit the shutter button to the point that it hit our wire was probably within less than 2 minutes.
Wow.
That's incredible.
It's instant.
When you scroll through your phone,
that's amazing,
or however it is that you store your pictures, what are the highlights of this year? Things that you saw?
It's not so much that an image stands out this year to me, but it's the volume of images that we take, the amount of time that we spend with the President of the United States, and all the work that we're putting in. So day by day, we're trying to show the American public what it's like to be here. My job as a photojournalist is to show you the world through my eyes.
And to that point, the last administration, the Biden team, they spent a lot of time coming up with very carefully choreographed short events where we would see him. You probably had a lot of time to think about how you would take those pictures of that president. Do you have time to think before we go in to see President Trump about what you want it to look like, what it should look like?
I came here with George W. Bush and have gone all the way through President Trump. It's all staged, it's all set up, it's all there to put him in the best light possible. Right? So your job as a photojournalist is to be fair, be accurate, and show you what's going on in front of my lens. And it's not just what's happening right in front of me, but like the Rubio thing, what's going on over here, what's going on over there, what's going on behind me. I'm trying to show you everything that's happening in this room.
What is the difference between Trump this time in terms of getting good pictures and Trump last time?
Well, I mean, listen, President Trump is one of the easiest presidents to photograph. I mean, he's going to tell you exactly how he feels, what he thinks. He's going to give you a lot of time to do it.
You took one of the most famous photos ever in 2024. 2025 was the year that you got several big awards.
Oh, he's the one that took that one, huh? Wow. Quite a photo.
For it. People watching this have seen this picture everywhere. It encapsulates President Trump's whole aura as he made his political comeback. I've even seen it framed at Mar-a-Lago. Do you get royalties for the Butler picture?
No, I do not own the copyright. No, I do not.
Oh, that sucks.
How often, you see President Trump every day.
I guarantee, AP owns that shit.
Around the world, how often are you with him that you think of that day and that picture?
No, I think that, listen, that day it was a horrible tragedy. And that photo is just a lifetime of reps that I've taken. I've been in those situations before. I've been a photographer for a long time, and that was a culmination of all those years and all those hours.
All instinct.
Behind the lens. The second I heard the gunfire, I knew exactly what it was. It's not the first time I've been in this situation. And you sort of just go on autopilot and you do your job to the best of your ability, and then you just hope you have something. And people ask me about it all the time. Well, you know, how did it feel once you saw the image? And I was like, well, I felt relieved, because I work for a very large company, and my company is the Associated Press, and we have a distinguished history of photojournalism, and there's a standard there, and I did not want to be the person that didn't hold the line and hold that standard, and I'm glad I did the job.
You ever talk to President Trump about that picture?
I haven't. No, I don't even know if he loves Doug Mills, so I'm not sure.
Something before I can't have one of the most decorated photographers in the entire world here without doing this. I need to get your take, your official grade on the DEC family Christmas card.
Yeah.
We had a little bit of snow here in DC one day. This is with an iPhone self-timer.
Buddy, it's perfect. I love it.
Bit fuzzy. You can't really tell what's going on too well. He appears to be pulling small children in a sleigh.
You got the
cute. New York subway ends its MetroCard era and switches fully to tap and go fares. Retiring the MetroCard after 30 years.
Headlines today. An urgent search is underway in Texas.
Shut up. All right. So let's see. MetroCard. And they're going to... I assume it's still a card. Yeah. Tap your card, phone, or smart device to pay fares. It's how we have it in DC. We have a dedicated card still. But you don't swipe it, you tap it. Much easier, much smoother. Before MetroCards, bus and subway riders relied on tokens. Yeah. Brass-colored coins introduced in 1953, purchased from station booths. Paper tickets before that. There's a resistance to change from tokens to something else because tokens work. Yeah, they work and they work well. It's kind of silly. Even move away from that, to be honest, but nowadays we just get this. Yep. These are the new systems, by the way. These are the ones that they're trying to put in to replace the current ones to try to prevent fare hoppers, like fare evaders. This is what they're using to try to prevent it. It actually looks legitimately easier than it was before. Easier. I mean, it's not even the only way to do it. You just go over the top. You just jump straight over that freaking thing. I mean, not jump, but climb. Yeah, there you go. Bing. Oh, this lady got her head stuck in it. Look at that. Didn't go through fast enough and got her head stuck between them. Follow him through. Bing. Wow, how much are they spending on this, I wonder? $7 million. They're spending $7 million to install this stupid-ass bullshit. To try to prevent people from skipping their fare. All right, behind closed doors, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz's office says he's been cracking down on fraud for years. After a mega viral video from Nick Shirley documented visits to multiple child care centers, including one that allegedly received millions of dollars in state funding, despite appearing largely inactive and even misspelling the word learning on its sign. Yep. That's right. That's his response. We've cracked down on fraud for years. Herp-de-dur. Okay, President of Somaliland expected to visit the U.S. to meet with President Trump and sign the Abraham Accords with Israel. This is not Somalia. This is Somaliland. Different. Okay, back to Somali fraud. An investigation in Ireland apparently found that 70% of the highest paid childcare providers serving vulnerable children are run by Islamic migrants, primarily from Somalia and other African countries.
Hey,
oh yeah, it's not just Somalia. It's endemic to that part of Africa.
Rodrigo, go on in. Can I ask you why you deleted the files?
Are they going to have to say about deleting the files involving abuse of young children?
Come on, Rodrigo.
What have you got to say about ideal care?
What about Jossie? Did Jossie any of the children
Nothing.
go missing out Jossie's home? Did any of the children go missing out Jossie's home? Can you answer that question, Rodrigo?
You invited people along to do the night and all that. You know what to say? You need to resign. You're the most dangerous man in the world. Don't put your hands on me.
Clap and get out of the way.
You're the most dangerous man in the world.
Oh, those accents, man. Okay, FBI Director Patel says previous fraud arrests in Minnesota are just the tip of a very large iceberg. Duh. Oh, we don't get to see it? All right. Do you hold a presser or what? That on Sunday, the Bureau would continue to follow the money in Minnesota and protect children, that the investigation remains very much ongoing. That the FBI is aware of recent social media reports in Minnesota about fraud allegations. However, even before the public conversation escalated online, the FBI had surged personnel and investigative resources to Minnesota to dismantle large-scale fraud schemes exploiting federal programs. Fraud that steals from taxpayers and robs vulnerable kids will remain a top FBI priority in Minnesota and nationwide. To date, the FBI has dismantled a $250 million fraud scheme that stole federal food aid meant for vulnerable kids during COVID. The investigation exposed sham vendors, shell companies, and large-scale money laundering tied to the Feeding Our Future network. Noted that the case led to 78 indictments. That is just nuts, man. 78 freaking indictments. 57 convictions. That's wild. Wow, they even tried to bribe a juror. Wow, tried to bribe a juror with $120,000 in cash. FBI believes that this is just the tip of a very large iceberg. We will continue to follow the money and protect children. This investigation very much remains ongoing. Okay. Joe Biden, the worst president in the history of our country. According to what? Oh, a PragerU survey. This isn't like polling. It's like it's surveying people who are already visiting their website, so it's a pretty biased pool of people pulling this from. But still, I wonder where he would sit in a more like scientific poll, trying to keep demographics proportionately aligned. Sure. probably still quite low, considering the approval rating for Democrats right now. Maybe even last. He might even still be last. China shows aerial and sea drone swarms, drone motherships, robot dogs, and armed humanoid robots assaulting Taiwan during their Justice Mission 2025 exercises to deter Taiwanese independence. Which, of course, they already have. Creepy AI video stuff. Got sharks turning into submarines, torpedoes, hawks turning into drones. Fish torpedo, fish torpedo. Well, fish boat. Dang, what is that funky ass looking thing? With the, what are they called? And what's it? Catamaran? Those are? Okay, then. Wiener laptop reviews due tomorrow, or, well, today, December 29th, as evidenced in this letter sent December 15th from Chuck Grassley to A.G. Bondi and Kash Patel. Yep, provide report no later than December 29th. Provide all records related to search warrant affidavits for the laptop. Provide all records related to the yellow sheet of paper, at least 7 separate domains viewed on the device that were affiliated with the Clintons, which was provided to a New York field office ASAC by New York field office special agent forensic examiner. Provide all records related to the decision to withdraw the 3rd 2020 search warrant for the Wiener laptop. Provide document entitled Investigative History, Status, and Recommendations concerning the Clinton Foundation. Provide all emails related to the Clinton Foundation investigation and Anthony Weiner laptop to, from, or CCing Cody Hyland, Jonathan Ross, John Huber, Andrew McCabe, like that John Huber, Andrew McCabe, Diane Upchurch, Randy Coleman, Ray Holzer, and Anna Lou Tirol. Interesting. One person killed and another in critical condition after a helicopter crash. Mid-air collision. New Jersey.
Investigators want to know why 2 helicopters collided in midair on Sunday.
Yeah, what the heck, man?
One person was killed and another is in.
That doesn't just happen. Like, helicopter on helicopter crashes are like exceedingly rare. I would imagine. Only way that's happening is like air show stunts, you know, that kind of thing, where they're flying information or something, you know, doing some kind of goofy stunt. This is just like unheard of. It's weird.
In critical condition. Now, this happened in an area northwest of Atlantic City.
Cell phone video captured the moment a helicopter spun out of control before crashing out of sight.
I got one helicopter fully involved. I got another one in the woods down.
The FAA says just before noon Sunday, two choppers collided above an airport in Hamilton, New Jersey, near Philadelphia. The helicopters crashed behind Caitlin Collins' house.
I just heard this like wub, 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 and I knew it was close. And I just heard a loud bang, and my husband, he just started screaming, call 911, call 911.
She told our Philadelphia station she couldn't get through, so she and her husband ran to the backyard.
We saw a red helicopter on its side, and there was a man in there, and he was he was breathing, and he was looking around, and I just held his hand and just told him everything was going to be okay.
Aww.
She and neighbors stayed until paramedics arrived.
You don't know what to do. I'm not a medical professional. I'm not a medical anything. I can barely put a Band-Aid on correctly, you know?
Jeez. Now, I wonder if that's the one that survived, at least for now, or the other one. Yikes. Major bullion bank collapses after silver shorts liquidated. Yep, someone was liquidating a fuck ton of it. Oh, look at that. There it goes. Down she goes. Well, hope you got out while you were ahead. Down, down, down. Down from roughly 80 high, almost down to 70. Last 6 hours or so. Interesting. Weird shit's going on in Japan too. Let me see if I can find it. Bank of Japan just confessed this morning. Japan's real policy interest rate is by far at the lowest level globally. They raised to 0.75%, the highest since 1995, and they're telling you they've barely begun. 30-year Japan government bonds yields hit 3.45% last week. That's not a high. That is an all-time record. 14.2 trillion in yen derivatives must reprice. Jeez. Japanese life insurers are 54% unhedged on foreign bonds. Regional banks sitting on 3.3 trillion yen in unrealized losses. Up 260% since March of 2024. What the fuck? U.S. office CMBS delinquencies at 11.76%. Exceeds 2008 crisis peak. Wow. Silver extends losses to drop below 74 an ounce, now down 12% from its high seen 12 hours ago. For the history books. Indeed. Indeed. LA Mayor Karen Bass says it's sad that Hispanics are joining Border Patrols. Suggests they're only doing it for money. How's gold doing? Oh, gold's going down. Oh my goodness. Look at that. At a high of, man, 45, almost $4,600. Bitch. Sold that shit a couple days ago. Oh well. Mayor Karen Bass says it's sad Hispanics are joining Border Patrol.
Well, in a way, I think it's sad. I think that those Border Patrol agents are going to have a difficult time when they're out in the field and they see what actually happens in real life, separate from their training. But I do understand that their primary incentive is financial. I think it just speaks to the financial situation that millions of Americans find themselves in. And I definitely am concerned about that report. Well, in a way, I think it's sad. I think
Big mad. You're mad. You're not sad. You're mad. You're ass mad. 2026 U.S. Senate chance of winning. Okay, what do we have? Oh God. So they have North Carolina and Maine flipping to Democrats. Everything else staying the same. Dang, that Florida number, though. Ooh, wee. 89 to 11. Sucks. Well, we do still have the rest of 2026 to play out here. Better part of a year. Well, I mean, things can change in no time flat. Dick Wolf won the most consecutive Emmy Awards for any primetime drama series. And here is James Comey bragging that he got him to the... What? Mike Benz must have been, like, running on no sleep when he typed this one up. I have no idea what he's saying here. Here is James Comey bragging that he got him to the turnout propaganda slop on network TV to make the... No idea. Well, we'll just watch it. Currently, James Comey asked people like Dick Wolf to create propaganda TV shows about the FBI. Okay.
I did a strange thing at the FBI. I worked very hard to try and get people like Dick Wolf to produce TV shows about the FBI, because I saw that as another way of showing the work to the American people. It turns out that paid off. I remember meeting with him and saying, why do I turn on the TV and see NCIS all the time? They're a fine organization, but there's like 8 people who work at NCIS. And now I turn on the TV and I got FBI all over the place. That's a good thing in the main. It's incomplete. Your work is much more reality-based, but it helps to show an organization to the American people that matters. I did a strange thing at the FBI. I worked very hard to try and get people like Dick Wolf to produce TV shows.
That's weird. It seems like an odd thing for an FBI director to be preoccupied with. Or maybe not so much. Maybe it isn't so odd. Probably would have been right up Hoover's alley. Fucking weirdo. Right. Oh. Where are we? Okay, Catherine Herridge. Mamdani's NYPD crisis. This is kind of long, so we'll just check out a little bit here.
This week, we hear from 2 veterans of the New York City Police Department. Between them, they have more than 5 decades of law enforcement experience. They say the city is at a tipping point as Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani officially takes office. From defunding the police to high rates of repeat offenders and growing harassment of officers over immigration enforcement and political protests. So let's get straight to the point. Is New York City on the cusp of a policing crisis?
Yes.
I think so.
On the cusp.
When you look at
Been there.
what New York City is about to experience, with multiple officers being eligible to retire, with a demand that the city take more civilian control over the police department.
Whatever
I think
that
those
means.
factors are going to lead officers to want to leave and protect themselves. And I think with that being said, the staffing levels could drop to a point where it makes New York City less safe. And when New York City is less safe, the country feels less safe.
Let me ask you, John, is New York City on the cusp of a policing crisis?
Absolutely. When you look at where we were, where we are, and where we're going to be under the mayor-elect, and his rhetoric speaks for itself.
Yep.
He said he wants to defund our police. He's hired people in his public safety committee that are anti-police. You have 4,000 cops that can leave. There's a civilian complaint review board. He wants to give control to them versus the police commissioner. This is a recipe for disaster. So to answer your questions, absolutely. The time will tell, but this is very dangerous, what we're heading into.
You were the chief of department, so you ran day-to-day operations. What's the current staffing level for the NYPD, and how many officers are eligible to retire in January?
So right now we're at about 33,400. What we need is probably about 40,000. We were a long time ago. And in 2026, there's 4,000 cops that can leave. Will they leave? Remains to be seen. But if you're a 20-year veteran and your overtime's being cut and you don't like what you see coming from the mayor's office, why would you stay?
Yep.
So this is going to be quick.
They know that.
And we'll get the results within probably the first quarter of the year.
They're going to do everything possible to passively encourage them to leave.
You've
before they start cutting them.
Been a police officer on the beat. You started in the Bronx, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what would it mean for the policing levels to drop to, say, 30,000?
I think we're talking about response times. I think we're talking about cops not being able to get a day off, which affects morale. And this is one of the main reasons why cops go and choose another police department over the NYPD and they leave. And ultimately, those things make communities less safe.
So this really is a public safety issue.
Absolutely. You have to sound the alarms because when you start to go down these roads, we've been there before, we know what it leads to. And you can talk all you want in the boardrooms, but at the end of the day, when these cops make those decisions, it makes people less safe.
Just hearing you describe this, I feel and hear quite a bit of emotion in your voice. Is it very personal?
Of course, it's very personal. When you...
What else they get? Bunch of stuff from the area, especially like a good watch.
Oh.
So is it fair to assess that you feel the incoming mayor is more focused on the perpetrators versus the victims?
Oh, absolutely. He's about social policing. He's about that people who commit crimes, the recidivists, the repeat offenders, it's almost to the point where it's not their fault. We're going to go back to a place where the cop is the bad guy and the bad guy is a victim of circumstance. We've been down this road before and we fought so hard to bring it back a little bit, but now we're going back to it. It is not a good recipe, all right? We are a very benevolent city. We want to give people second chances, but who we can't give second chances to is the arch criminals. And that's who's hurting the city. And we've got to realize that as a community. Tariq said communities don't want this. And that's the problem. And we're going backwards. And it's going to be a real issue.
Tariq, is it fair?
Yep. Maybe come back to that if we run out of material. Which I don't think. It is Monday morning after all, so. All right. Fox News, Brit Baier straight up asks Zelensky. Oh, you talked to Zelensky, huh? See it. Is there any indication that you see that Putin wants peace by what he's doing or saying?
Is there any indication that you see that Vladimir Putin wants peace by what he's doing or saying?
Me not, be honest. And
you just stop with that. Me not be honest. Yeah, I agree.
Be honest.
He's doing or saying?
Me not, be honest.
Yes, you not be honest. Yeah.
And I don't see it because, first of all, I don't hear it publicly. His messages, they go, I mean...
Me not be honest.
He doesn't speak about peace. Now he doesn't speak. He says that he can go further. It's not the signals of peace.
Do you believe after
you give money,
after the fighting ends, whenever that happens, that Russia actually wants Ukraine to succeed?
Well, I think President Zelensky could be forgiven after 4 years of war for not thinking that Russia's intentions for Ukraine are the best. And, you know, I think, yes, a successful Ukraine is actually in the best interests of Russia. Whether President Putin wants that personally, I don't know. But I think where the United States can play a really important role here is in doing those security guarantees that both President Trump and President Zelensky were talking about yesterday. And these are defensive measures. This isn't making Ukraine into some kind of predatory power that can attack Russia, but rather working on things like missile defense, where NATO can play that crucial role.
NATO, huh?
And also border security for that eastern line down.
Know that'll fly well with Putin. Okay. Tim Walz desperately defends himself from Somali fraud allegations. Uncovered in damning viral video from Shirley. So what did Waltzy say? Pardon me. The governor has worked for years to crack down on fraud. Blows my mind that they actually think that saying that is going to help them. All that tells me, assuming you're telling the truth, all that tells me is that he's fucking incompetent. If he's been working for years to crack down on fraud, and there's this much fraud, at a bare minimum, he fucking sucks at his job. I wouldn't be admitting that. Unless, of course, they're so desperate they have no choice. Like, it's crazy. A crazy thing to say. You strengthened oversight, including launching investigations into these specific facilities, one of which was already closed. What? Closed and then opened up under another name at the same facility? I'm guessing that's what they're referring to. Playing word games. Spokesperson added that Waltz has hired an outside firm to audit payments to high-risk programs, shut down the Housing Stabilization Services program entirely, and announced a new statewide program integrity director. So, what good does that do if you just appoint some asshole like yourself? Probably Somali. Disgusting. Can't wait to see him crumble and fall for this. It's coming. It's going to happen. I don't think he's weaseling his way out of this one. The backlash is strong. It's so overwhelming. It's so in your face. Thanks in large part to Mr. Shirley. Like, he's cooked, man. Good to see. Gamers think Minnesotans are easy targets. Minnesota AG Keith Ellison.
Scammers think Minnesotans are easy targets. They are wrong.
April Fools!
When scammers go after our seniors, students, or families, I step in fast and we shut them down.
This year, I fought
Is this a joke? Like,
predatory lenders, student loan scams, fake utility callers, and online frauds that steal people's savings. Every Minnesotan deserves safety and honesty when they answer the phone, open their mail, or take out a loan. If you plan to scam Minnesotans, think again. You're stepping into the wrong ring.
oh my god. King Dirtbag Keith Ellison, the people's lawyer. So I wonder when they put this out. It's obviously somewhat older. What an insane piece of content. Wow. Oh yeah, here's an oldie but a goodie. Keith Ellison posing with the Anti-Fascist Handbook by Mark Bray. Posing proudly. ICE agents made arrests at the largest Somali mall in Minnesota. Fuck yeah. Oh, yes. Take it in, baby. It's so disgusting. The most disgusting people. Oh God. Most disgusting language. They are just disgusting. Disgusting people. There's just no getting around it. They have absolutely zero redeeming qualities. Whatsoever. None. Look at this shit. I don't even know what we're looking at here, but it's disgusting. Ohio attorney Mehak Cook confirms massive fraud in Ohio, another hotbed for Somalis. Columbus, especially. Number 2 spot in America.
So these individuals tried to report the fraud that was happening in Ohio and then eventually came to me to say that we're watching providers rubber stamp paperwork for home health. So
dang, this is okay, Ohio attorney. What kind of attorney? Like, what is she? Okay, she's like a media lady. All right.
So these individuals tried to report the fraud that was happening in Ohio and then eventually came to me to say
I wonder if she represented them or
that we're watching providers rubber stamp paperwork for home health. So in Ohio, and there's many states like this, Pennsylvania and other states too, where you can go in and you can say my aging parent needs a home health care and I want to provide it. So the state will, as long as the doctor has approved it, continue to pay you. It could be for 10 hours, 12 hours, up to 24 when it's critical care. So you could sit at home without caring for an elderly parent who really doesn't need it, make about $75,000 to $90,000 a year. Now you add 2 parents, that's $180,000. Now you add your in-laws, $250,000. You continue to add this and you wonder, what are the services being provided?
That's insane.
So a lot of providers came and said, fraud is occurring because we said we weren't going to rubber stamp this paperwork, so they went to other providers. Their home healthcare network saying, we'll make it worth your while. Well, sounds like a kickback to me. So we really need to investigate the Medicaid system and how much it's increased since the Somalian population came, and who really needs critical care, because that's meant for our disabled, our elderly, and people who really need it, not to just live off our system. And that's what's happening in Ohio. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's despicable, but authorities are now looking at it from the Attorney General's office to the U.S. Attorney's office. I flagged them all because this is Ohio tax dollars, and we have to take it seriously. I'm tired of people telling me, well, this is the way it's always been. It's subjective, and we can't really check. No, you can. Audit America, audit Ohio now, and I'm pushing for that in every single state.
Amen.
So these individuals.
Crazy shit, dude. Sickening. Elon Musk saying we must mass impeach and remove leftist judges. Oh yeah, after Somali fraudsters were let free, despite robbing the taxpayers of millions in Minnesota. Yeah, that's possibly the craziest part of all of this. That happened. I mean, God.
But jumping out of the water when it's already boiling.
He says, as President Bukele eloquently articulates, there is no other option. We must impeach to save democracy.
It's an almost impossible feat. You are not there yet. And believe me, you don't want to be. We did the unthinkable to cleanse our society. We arrested the terrorists, but we have to remove corrupt judges and corrupt attorneys and prosecutors. But jumping up.
Musk says Democrats use our welfare system to turn illegals into voters.
So, the wage report in entitlement spending, which is which is most of the federal spending is entitlements. That's like the big one to eliminate, because that's the sort of $500 billion, maybe $600-700 billion a year. That is also a mechanism by which the Democrats attract and retain illegal immigrants by essentially paying them to come here and then turning them into voters.
Yes.
So
it's sick.
This is why the Democrats are so upset about the situation, because they're losing. If we turn off this gigantic money magnet for illegal immigrants, then they will leave, and they will lose voters.
Kash Patel surging FBI resources to dismantle Minnesota fraud scheme. Good. Update. Oh, wow. $14 million fraud committed by 3 illegal aliens in Texas. They've now been arrested. It's literally happening everywhere. Yep. I guarantee you. Every single state.
Estimated $14 million worth of.
And people better be looking in New York next. Medicaid fraud in New York. Yeah, I'll show you something interesting. I had an AI hone in on. We'll pop to that next year.
Fraud was committed by these 3 suspects. Christians Petrovskis, Romuns Tisobrits, Normuns Olavikas were arrested for shoplifting and cloning gift cards in Texas.
These people were all here illegally, and they were all here specifically
cloning gift cards
to commit crimes.
The men are foreign nationals from Latvia,
how does that work?
A country in Europe. The group told investigators that they typically steal gift cards from 10 stores a day, 7 days a week, and have been actively doing so since May.
They're stealing gift cards off the shelves.
So how do they activate them?
From various big box stores. These cards have no value when they steal them.
The thieves will then take the items to another location and carefully remove the packaging almost surgically.
The card is removed, and then the material on the back that covers up the numbers to transfer anything or activate the card is then removed so that they can see it. The numbers that are on the card are then programmed into another program that the criminals are using, which will now monitor that card.
From there, the cards are reassembled to appear as new without scratches and placed back on display.
Oh my gosh, and then people buy them and load them up, and then they become active, at which point they know, and then they immediately use them. What the fuck? That is insane.
Store shelves for someone to buy.
As soon as it is activated and money placed onto that card,
that is
criminals are now aware.
What? Who even thinks of that? What an insane scheme.
But they now have the ability to transfer the money off of that card and onto another card where it is then cashed out or used to buy high-end merchandise.
We're told more than 400 gift cards were in their possession when they got arrested. We know they shoplifted from stores in cities including Austin, Dallas-Fort Worth, Houston, and San Antonio.
That is crazy.
For anyone who might have one placed under the tree,
the only way once you purchase it is to...
Well, don't buy gift cards unless you're buying them online, I guess.
Actually check to see what the balance is on that card, but unfortunately most people are going to give it as a gift and they don't want to scratch it off to see what's on there. Beyond that, there really isn't that much you can do other than to be vigilant.
That is just nuts. I don't even know why people use gift cards. Like, just send fucking cash. Like, what are you doing? Just, what do you... I mean, unless you're worried the person's gonna, like, buy drugs or something. It's like a special case where they're, like, an addict and... something goofy like that. Like, just give cash, for God's sake. It's silly, it's such a silly concept. It's just... The whole concept is just the scam for the companies to make money anyway, just from the ground up. Like, they bank on people buying gift cards and then not using them. Or not using them fully. Not completely, right? I mean, how many people buy and get a gift card for like 20 bucks or whatever, and then toss it in their wallet or on a shelf somewhere and then completely forget about it? And then the thing expires or whatever, and bada bing. Company pockets the whole thing. Ridiculous. Like, just give cash. It doesn't expire. People put it in their wallets and don't forget about it. Because, you know, it's cash. Brigitte Bardot. Yep. Dead. Very sad. Lovely woman.
We are remembering Brigitte Bardot, the French actor and animal rights advocate who died on Sunday. Bardot rose to stardom as one of the greatest screen sirens of the 20th century before leaving it all to become an activist.
In the button-down 1950s, she was ahead of her time. A woman who took exactly what she wanted.
Do you really enjoy making this kind of film, or do you want to be a serious actress?
Oh no, I prefer this kind of film. I will be a serious actress when I will be older.
But older, all of 39, she abruptly quit acting to advocate for animal rights. Bardot was admired by many for her campaigning against luxury furs and Canada's baby seal hunt. But a darker side emerged. The former sex kitten veered hard right. She insulted gay men.
Based.
And Muslims living in France.
Double based.
5 times she was convicted of inciting racial hatred.
Depending on the situation, triple based.
But at the end of her life, after more than 9 decades, over 50 films, 4 husbands, and countless scandals, Brigitte Bardot was unrepentant. "They may call me a sinner," she said, "but I'm at peace with myself."
Yeah, she's a lovely woman. Told you. Great loss. You've never seen Contempt. Watch Contempt. I owned the lens that was used to film Contempt, starring Brigitte Bardot. Unfortunately, sadly, this was my prized possession. unfortunately let go of it recently. Heartrending, I have to say. Really did not want to get rid of the thing. There she is. Sadly gone. Yeah. Needed the money. Broke as a joke, and did the money. Had to sell it. Yep. But go watch Contempt. It is it's a beautiful movie. It was groundbreaking. Thanks in large part to that lens. It was a groundbreaking lens. It was the first of its kind. Really, nothing else like it followed. It remained a completely unique piece of equipment. It was an anamorphic widescreen cinemascope lens, but also was a zoom lens, which is what made it so unique. And it was very small, and most of all, it focused very, very close, which for anamorphic widescreen lenses was not. It still to this day isn't a thing. For whatever reason, it's something about the optical design. It makes it difficult for the lenses to focus, really close, which kind of limits the interesting shots that you can get, right? If you can only focus 3 feet away or farther, this thing could focus 1.5 feet away from the sensor, which is roughly like 4 or 5 inches from the front of the lens. So super close. And it changed the way that people made movies. The French New Wave became known as. Completely changed the way films were made. You watch movies from the 50s, I mean, you'll know they had a completely different vibe, the way the camera moved or didn't. This thing allowed them to go handheld, had these like high energy zooming in and out and like all this crazy stuff going on. It was it allowed them to move around. Things that just are totally commonplace now. It's all thanks to this thing. Very sad to let it go. And very sad to see Bardot leave. Yeah. Mr. Jones, 8385, the Stalker was groundbreaking. You darn right it was. Yeah. Tarkovsky. What lens did Tarkovsky use to film that one? I'll show you. There you go. These would have been used on that film. Soviet anamorphics. Their own version of widescreen. And they actually have the only other anamorphic zoom from that time period. And it was modeled after the French lens. There it is. Stalker may have actually used this as well. I don't remember if they had zoom shots on that or not. I haven't watched it in a while, but yeah, Soviet cinema. If you've never delved into that, it's fascinating. Really, really good stuff. Well worth looking at. Anything by Tarkovsky. If you're looking for movies to watch. Yeah, genius. All right, let's keep going. Enough about movie stuff. Ahmed Al-Ahmed, the Bondi Beach guy, the hero who disarmed one of the shooters, giving his first interview at Tech.
Were you worried about the second gunman on the footbridge?
No, I didn't worry about anything. I was just my target was just to take the gun from him and to stop him from killing a human being life and not killing innocent people.
Do you realize that from your actions you saved countless lives that day?
I know I saved lots of people's life, innocent kids and women and elders and men. And I know I saved lots, but I feel sorry still for the lost.
Were you worried?
Melissa Hortman. Oh yeah, one of the ones that was shot by Vance Bolter, Tim Walz's appointee. Melissa Hortman was the only Democrat to vote against healthcare funding for illegals. That's interesting. Did Melissa Hortman know, I don't know, something about what was going on? Was she maybe looking into it even? Who knows?
I know that people will be hurt by that vote, and we worked very hard to try to get a budget deal.
Boy, this reaction is just strange too.
That wouldn't include that.
She's on the verge of tears.
DFL Speaker Emerita.
Like,
I know that people will be hurt by that vote, and we worked very hard to try to get a budget deal that wouldn't include that provision.
DFL Speaker Emerita Melissa Hortman emotional following the House's adjournment from a special session Monday. Hortman was the lone DFL lawmaker to cast a vote to cut Minnesota Care access for undocumented immigrants. It's a move she made with a heavy heart.
I did what leaders do. I stepped up and I got the job done for the people of Minnesota.
The
Wow.
bill was deeply unpopular with members of the DFL caucus. Members have repeatedly expressed frustration that the bill was part of a compromise, one that would ensure the necessary GOP votes to pass the rest of the state budget.
We are tremendously disappointed and gut-wrenched at this decision, at this compromise that compromises our communities that are most vulnerable.
Hortman knows she let down her own caucus members with the vote.
They're right to be mad at me. I think some of them are pretty angry. I think that their job was to make folks who voted for that bill feel like crap, and I think that they succeeded.
Wow. Interesting. Yikes. All right, 9 Republican Montana state senators voted with 8. Oh, hold on. You know what? Sorry, I meant to go to that thing I mentioned about New York. I asked Gemini, Google's AI, to, let's see, which one was it here? Look at states where to look at the fraud in Minnesota, look at the data, and then compare to other states and see if there are any states that stand out as potential candidates for fraud, where more fraud is going on. Let's see. There we go. That's the one. Let's see, I asked it to ignore all existing discussions in the media and all previously existing lists, use only primary source data and your own reasoning to identify the most likely candidates based on the data. Were there signs in the data that such fraud was taking place, like massive spending increases on avenues ripe for fraud and exploitation? Come up with questions like this to identify likely candidates based on known entities, like Minnesota's ongoing scandal, and identify matches in other states and cities that fit the mold. To identify the next likely hotspots, you must ask these 3 questions of the raw data. The states that answer yes are the prime candidates. The per capita question. Is this state spending significantly more per impoverished person than its neighbors? The error rate question. Does the state have a payment error rate exceeding 10%? High error rates are the bad signal for organized fraud rings. They can indicate the state is not checking IDs or eligibility. And the fiscal intermediary question. Does the state use a consumer-directed model? This is the exact structure used in Minnesota sponsors, but applied to healthcare. It allows a fiscal intermediary to bill the state for hundreds of personal care aides who may not exist. Top 5 prime candidates, according to its analysis of the data. New York. Number 1. New York is a massive statistical outlier in Medicaid spending. 2025 data shows New York spent $4,942 per resident, which is nearly 77% higher than the national average, and significantly higher than comparable states like even California or Illinois. That's interesting, okay? The vulnerability is the Consumer-Directed Personal Assistance Program, the CDPAP, what it mentioned there, the Consumer-Directed Model, which is what's used in Minnesota. Why it fits the mold, like the food sponsors in Minnesota, New York uses fiscal intermediaries or middlemen to handle payroll for home health aides. All this home health care shit is almost certainly going on in New York, too. Recent indictments unsealed late 2024, 2025, confirm rings are creating fake aides, often relatives, who bill for caring for fake patients, funneling millions out of the system. Sheer volume of per capita spending suggests this is systemic, not isolated. Alaska, number 2. That's interesting. They've got a catastrophic SNAP payment error rate of over 60%. How does that even work? While this is often attributed to administrative understaffing, for a fraud ring, this is an open door. The 60% error rate means the state is effectively not verifying the majority of its claims. If a group using the feeding our future tactic, uploading lists of fake names in Alaska, the data suggests there is a better than coin flip chance that the state would just simply pay the invoice without checking. Ohio, of course, number 3. 209 million identified 2024-2025 state audit report in concurrent enrollment waste, meaning individuals were enrolled in Ohio Medicaid while simultaneously enrolled in other states. Wow. And that's just what they turned up. That's just what they were willing to admit in a shitty little report. This indicates sophisticated cross-border fraud. Organized groups likely use the identities of real people to enroll them in 3 to 4 states simultaneously. The siloed nature of state data, where Ohio doesn't talk to Michigan or whatever, is the exact loophole exploited here. And then look at this. Number 4, DC. DC consistently posts error rates in nutrition programs like SNAP and WIC, hovering between 17 and 20%, among the highest in the contiguous U.S. Whoa. I didn't know that. Why it fits the mold. High density of nonprofits and high error rates equals high risk. Feeding Our Future scheme relied on the cover of legitimate nonprofit work. DC's administrative data shows a systemic inability to distinguish between valid and invalid claims, making it a prime target for paper empires. And then number 5, California. Of course. California state auditor designated 8 state agencies as high risk in 2025, specifically citing the Employment Development Department and Social Services for failing to fix eligibility discrepancies that previously cost $2 billion. What the fuck? Jeez. Report explicitly flags mismanagement of federal funds. Federal funds. Same shit as Minnesota. With the explosion of homelessness services contracts, what? Which operate on a provider/sponsor model similar to the food fraud? What is this? This sounds interesting. This sector shows the same rapid scaling without oversight signs that preceded the Minnesota collapse. What is this? Homelessness services contracts? What is that? Well, like giving them needles and shit, or like what are we talking? Let's find out. Homelessness services contract? We shall see. Doop 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 doop. There we go. Primary vehicles through which the state has funneled roughly $24 billion over the last 5 years. Hello. In the context of fraud, the Minnesota mold, these contracts are not simple payments for services. They function as a massive, multi-layered disbursement system that mirrors the sponsor model you saw in the Feeding Our Future scandal. I think I'm doing a bad job. Here's the breakdown of what these contracts are, how they work, and why they're the perfect vehicle for the industrial scale fraud you're investigating. The structure, the block grant shell game. Unlike a direct contract where the government hires a company to pave a road, California uses a pass-through model. Layer 1, the source, of course the state, issues massive block grants to cities and counties. Level 2, the administrator. The city and county doesn't do the work. They contract it out, or, fraudulently engage in some kind of kickback scheme. They contract it out to a continuum of care or a large nonprofit acting as a fiscal agent. Layer 3, the operator. This fiscal agent then subcontracts with dozens of smaller nonprofits to actually run the shelters, street teams, or housing sites. State often stops tracking money at layer 1. Once the check clears to the county, the state considers the money spent. This creates a data desert where the actual service providers in layer 3 operate with little oversight. Wow. Just like the food sponsors in Minnesota, California relies on fiscal sponsors. A large established nonprofit lends its tax-exempt status 501c3 to smaller, unproven groups so they can receive government cash. The sponsor takes a 10 to 15% admin fee to handle the paperwork. Creates a perverse incentive, of course. The more money the small fraudulent group claims, the more money the sponsor makes in fees. The sponsor has a financial reason not to look too closely at invoices. Yeah, that's nuts. This is fascinating. Real-world examples, the Minnesota matches. We already have indictments and scandals in California that match the Feeding Our Future pattern perfectly. Real estate scheme, Shangri-La Industries. They'd awarded $114 million in home key funds to this developer to convert motels into homeless housing. What the fuck? Instead of finishing the projects, the CEO allegedly siphoned off millions of dollars to fund a lavish lifestyle, including Ferraris and parties. The properties were left rotting and vacant. They took the cash up front, like the food fraudsters, but just never delivered. Wow. Same exact thing. Look that one up. These are the people in charge, I guess. Yep. Cody Holmes, CFO of Shangri-La, and his alleged ex-girlfriend. Alleged. Have been sued by Shangri-La, which alleges that Holmes embezzled millions of dollars from the company. They're trying to play stupid. Lifestyle Scheme, United Council of Human Services, San Francisco. Nonprofit leader Gwendolyn Westbrook received roughly $28 million in city contracts to run shelters. Wow. Investigators found she used the nonprofit's accounts to buy a Tesla, purchase jewelry, and fund trips. Meanwhile, the shelters she ran were described as dangerous, drug-filled environments. Go figure. She operated under a fiscal sponsor for years. The sponsor collected fees, but just failed to stop the blatant misuse of funds because, of course, they were making money. It was interesting. I would recommend you make use of this kind of stuff in your own location. Maybe you could try and do some footwork like Mr. Shirley did. I'm going to be... I already asked about the DC stuff. Right here. And the data signals from DC. Here's a step-by-step plan for you to operate. Yeah, I even asked it, like, what should I do? Like, how should I... And base it on the model that Mr. Shirley followed. You can get really in-depth with the instructions you give it to, feed you a response. Get raw data, sponsor lists. Fraud hides in the sponsors, nonprofits that act as middlemen for federal cash. You need the list of who's getting paid. Target list A, it tells you where to go. The website, what to search for. Take your list of addresses, put them into Google Maps, Google Earth, looking for incompatibilities. Apartment red flagged is a youth enrichment center claiming to feed 500 kids mapped to a residential apartment or a townhouse. This was the #1 tell in Minnesota. Ah, interesting. Ghost staff check. Look up the nonprofit's Form 990. Did they claim $2 million in revenue but spend $0 on salaries or occupancy? Is the board of directors entirely made up of family members, people with the same last names? Interesting. Great tips. Fantastic. Oh, then gets into the phase 2, the field investigation. Nick Shirley style. Go to these places during meal service times for the food fraud. Paperwork says they serve lunch at a certain time, either 15 minutes beforehand, and see if they actually do what they say they do. There you go. And again, I guarantee you this shit's going on everywhere, all around us. In your hometown, your home state. The media isn't going to do this work. Like, it's going to take Nick Shirley's. I did a lot of the same with Grok too, by the way. You can use Grok if you prefer Grok. I tried both. Oh wait, did it on the X tab here. Yep, asked to find me a list of daycares and healthcare companies in the DC area that fit the pattern seen in the Somali fraud scandal in Minnesota. It didn't do that, but it did sort of tell me where to look, kind of. I found Google's to be a lot more capable at the time being, anyway. But they just updated to like their newest model, Gemini 3 or whatever. I don't think Grok has had an update in a while. So that could change. All right, what's this here? Oh, we're down to like top of the hour. So the 9 Republican Montana state senators voted with 18 Democrats to form a new majority to pass major legislation last session, undermining the influence of the ultra-conservative caucus of the state's GOP. Dubbed the Nasty Nine, the Republican senators were censured by their own party, stripped of their GOP status, and cut off from voting rights at their party's conventions in June. Some of those senators and 2 of the Democrats they voted with spoke about what they accomplished. We voted for lower income tax relief. We invested in infrastructure. We invested in the future of Montana. Oh boy.
Never going to change my party, but it clearly...
Never going to change my party, says don't call Trump an autocrat, don't force a government shutdown, and accept Trump's help on crime. Speaking to his fellow Democrats.
We've lost the argument, and right now, I think it's entirely appropriate to really be honest and just figure out why exactly have we effectively lost 2 out of the last 3 cycles, and a lot of the things we've really kind of really lost our connection with American voters in ways. And I think we can't just be, well, Trump is always wrong, or that we're going to set the country on fire, or whatever. That's just not true either, of course. But, you know, when I represent a state like Pennsylvania, that keeps you honest. And you always can't forget that a lot of Americans happen to disagree with you. That does not mean that they are fascists or now they want to shred the Constitution.
But when you hear some Democrats saying Trump is acting like an autocrat.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. If you actually compare him to an actual autocrat, that is not just that. Now, last night, for example, people were.
Boy, he has trouble getting it out, but. Crazy as it is, he sounds more sane than every single person in his party. All right. Top attorney for special counsel Jack Smith previously spiked Clinton Foundation investigation. Who dis? Which one? Ulcer? Never heard of him. Ray Hulser, then head of Department of Justice's Public Integrity Section, withheld information from the U.S. Attorney's Office investigating the Clinton Foundation under Trump 1.0. Hulser would later downplay and or provide inconsistent details concerning the Clinton Foundation probe to both Trump 1.0's DOJ and Special Counsel John Durham's office. In spite of, or maybe because of that history, Special Counsel Jack Smith selected Hulser to help lead the witch hunt against Trump, with Hulser personally recommending that Smith subpoena the toll records of nearly a dozen congressional Republicans. Earlier this month, Jim Jordan wrote Mr. Hulser requesting that he appear before the House Judiciary Committee for a transcribed interview tomorrow, December 30th. So, you know what else is happening, by the way, tomorrow? The pipe bomber hearing. That is happening tomorrow, and I will absolutely be there. Speaking of, I'll probably need coverage tomorrow evening if any host happens to be listening in and feels up to covering my times tomorrow. Yeah, I definitely want to be there. So let's see. Let's keep going. Former heavyweight world champion boxer Anthony Joshua involved in a car crash in Nigeria that left 2 people dead. Joshua, meanwhile, sustained minor injuries. Nigeria. Train accident in southern Mexico leaves at least 13 dead and dozens injured. Oh. What the hell happened? Derailed as it passed a curve. Wow. Any photos? Nope, guess not. Oh, Joshua just fought Jake Paul 10 days ago. The aftermath, I guess. Oof. $100+ million have been stolen from Swedish taxpayers by a Muslim Brotherhood-linked imam who ran private schools and kindergartens and has now fled the country. Some of the money went to sex clubs in Somalia. What? An explosive investigation by one of Sweden's largest newspapers, Expressen, revealed that the group looted over 1 billion in Swedish, whatever the hell that is, krona, something like that. I forget. In school vouchers and welfare funds. Wow. Wow. One of them, the former member of parliament, siphoned off 12 million via fake IT invoices to fund sex clubs in Thailand, luxury hotels, and his own Islamist party in Somalia. Wow. A group of imams classified by the Swedish Security Service in 2019 as threats to national security ran schools and preschools that funneled tens of millions to Malta, private individuals, and extremist groups. Most schools have been shut down, sometimes for extremism, sometimes via the Al Capone route. Yeah, rather than for what they want to get them for, they get them for economic crimes. Taxpayer money meant for Swedish children instead funded luxury lifestyles and radical Islam. Wow. China launched live fire drills around Taiwan on Monday. Yikes. That it said would simulate a blockade of the island's key ports, prompting Taipei to condemn Beijing's military intimidation. That's crazy. 10 Senate races that will decide the balance of power in 26. Okay. User, a jacket pocket. Yeah. All right, let's see. Fight for the Senate, expanding to a few more states next year. Give me the list. Give me the list. Core 4 being Maine, North Carolina, Michigan, and Georgia. Huh. Then further down the list, Ohio, New Hampshire, Texas, Iowa, Alaska, Minnesota. Yep, silver extends losses. Where's it at now? Oh man, look at that. Dumping even further. Yoicks. Gold too, huh? Eeh. Well, there it goes. What the fuck happened? Palladium down 15%. Whoa. Okay, lifetime contribution per immigrant. Wow. Somalia. Negative 1.1 million. Each Somalian costs over $1 million over the course of their lifetime to the state. Whereas, say, an immigrant from Japan contributes $525,000 over the course of their lifetime to the state. Wow. I mean, that is over and above even these, which are bad enough as it is. The rest of Central and North Africa sits at $700,000 cost over the course of their lifetime. Jeez. There's something especially sick about Somalian culture, quote unquote. Winter Storm Ezra. Oh yeah, slamming millions across the Midwest and Great Lakes.
Now,
hope everyone's staying warm, staying safe out there.
What are we doing as far as snow goes? We've seen about 32 inches so far this season in Traverse City. That's above average. So we're already at a surplus, and most areas across the Great Lakes are actually running surpluses. This has been a consistent winter, I think is a good way to describe it. But this could be one of the worst snowstorms we've seen. We're forecasting anywhere between 5 to 10 inches here across northern Michigan. Of course, the UP could get up near 2 feet of snow. I've already seen reports over a foot, and we're only in the first half of this storm. Winds are only going to be getting stronger through the morning, and because we're so far north, sunrise actually isn't until 8:20 this morning, so it'll be almost 9 a.m. before you really start to get a good depiction of what it's like. But I'll tell you what, it's not going to look a lot different than this. I mean, very low visibilities. We're about a half mile right now, especially when those lake-enhanced bands come in, and those are when you bring in the strongest wind gusts. So travel is going to be our worst impact. Now, it is winter break, okay, so there's no school. No schools are in session. Businesses may be delayed opening, but for Traverse City, I think we'll be okay as long as they have power. It's traveling. If you're heading home from Christmas or the holidays, maybe you're heading out somewhere for New Year's. Today's not the day to do that. We already had significant road closures in the upper Midwest yesterday. I would anticipate similar conditions here in Michigan throughout the morning and afternoon, and it's going to be like this all day. Wow. Tomorrow we drop the winds, but we're going to hold on to the chance for snow. And boy, are we in for a chaotic morning. We're going to be here covering it live, showing you around the beautiful Grand Traverse Bay in Traverse City, Michigan. We'll be back at America's Morning headquarters.
See what the White House is up to today. Got anything going? Nope. Quiet for now. Rep. James Comer going to draft criminal referrals in the Minnesota Somali fraud scandal. Good. Good. Walls are caving in on Tim Walz. Oh, yeah. He's complicit somehow, some way in this. There's no way he's not. This doesn't just happen without him, A, realizing it, and B, obviously, the bare minimum, refusing to do something about it. I expect it's probably more than that, though. Like, payoffs had to have been happening somewhere. Or something. Something was going on.
Now the federal government is...
And I really also, again, wonder about Vance Bolter and those people that he killed or tried to kill.
Is getting involved here. House Oversight Committee, it's widening its probe, inviting state lawmakers to come testify and other federal departments to investigate. So let's bring in now Chairman James Cover. He leads the charge over at Oversight, and he joins us now.
So on that note, remember, according to Kash Patel, the feds have been looking into this Minnesota fraud for some time already. So before it tumbled out into the public sphere, they had already been investigating a lot of this stuff. Really kind of makes you wonder if maybe Mr. Waltz got wind of something that might expose him somehow.
Morning to you. Tell us about who you're bringing in, who you want to see on Capitol Hill, and what questions do you want to ask them?
Well, the most important people are the state whistleblowers, the state employees who put that tweet out that we all are familiar with a few weeks ago that alerted America to the massive fraud. These state employees also allege that they had warned both Governor Waltz and Attorney General Ellison for years that this fraud was occurring, and yet nothing was taking place. So we're going to bring the state employees in. We're going to get their sworn testimony. We appreciate their bravery in coming forward. We're also going to bring in state lawmakers and Minnesota mayors, because the walls are caving in on Tim Waltz. This massive amount of fraud is affecting and impacting every citizen of Minnesota, because they're having to cut services because so much of the money for social programs was wasted and defrauded by this Somali population. So these are the people we're going to bring in. We're going to try to identify who was responsible for this. We're going to try to identify banks that we can subpoena their bank records so we can follow the money to see how much was taken, who took it, and then who do we need to hold accountable, and hopefully we'll have some criminal referrals at the end of the investigation.
What is so fascinating about this, Chairman Comer, is how no one knew. Or did they know? This is an op-ed from the Wall Street Journal here, asking, I think, a pretty fair question. When nearly $250 million can vanish from one state program before anyone truly notices, taxpayers are justified in asking, who was supposed to be minding the store? The uncomfortable answer is that no one elected by the people held that responsibility or held the mandate and clout to stop the scheme. You know, your whip, Tom Emmer, says there's no way that Governor Tim Waltz didn't know, or somebody in his administration didn't have an inkling that there was something going on. Do you agree with that? And how do you prove that?
I agree completely. Look, Tom Emmer was a state legislator in Minnesota before he came here. He has the pulse of Minnesota. He communicates regularly with Minnesota state legislators and Minnesota state employees. They've been talking about this for years. There was a congressman that came in from Minnesota when I came in 9 years ago to Congress named Jason Lewis. He was talking about the massive fraud from the Somali population 9 years ago. So this is something that's been talked about in Minnesota for a long time. The Minnesota media is very liberal, so they're never going to write anything bad about a beloved Democrat like Tim Waltz or Keith Ellison. So finally, the state employees have stepped forward publicly and talked about this massive amount of fraud. And I can tell you from our preliminary discussions with these state employees, it is a significant amount of money. And remember, Minnesota isn't a big state. So when you're talking about billions of dollars for a small state, that is a significant percentage of the budget for welfare in that state.
Should the governor resign? Are you calling on him to resign?
Yeah.
Well, not yet. He deserves due process, and we're going to give him due process. One of the things he said in the last 48 hours was that the Oversight Committee didn't need to worry about this investigation, that he would take care of it. I mean, no one in America believes that. That is a joke.
Did he seriously say that?
To investigate this. The key to a good congressional investigation is having whistleblowers, and fortunately for us, we have some state employees who have bravely stepped forward. Ooh. We're going to get them under oath, and they're going to tell us everything they know, and we're going to go from there. Wherever the investigation leads us, we will go. We're going to try to do it as rapidly as possible, but I think at the end of the day, the American taxpayers, and especially the taxpayers in Minnesota, are going to be sick at their stomach, and Tim Waltz is going to have a
I hope they are protecting the heck out of those whistleblowers, man.
A lot of explaining to do.
Okay.
Like security teams, safe houses, you know. They better have them protected. Shutdown looms in 2026 as healthcare premiums set to spike. Oh yeah, coming up in January. Oh boy. Trump's Justice Department probes Google and Verizon over DEI policies. Citing fraud law. Okay, the False Claims Act. The statute traditionally used to recover money from companies that overbill the government or inflate the cost of services rendered. Huh. Okay, directed DOJ to investigate and, as appropriate, pursue claims against any recipient of federal funds that based its hiring policies on DEI. Efforts part of a broader DOJ push to use the False Claims Act as a civil rights enforcement tool. Significant expansion of a law historically aimed at rooting out financial fraud in areas such as defense contracting and healthcare billing. Interesting move for how they are retooling it for that. Okay, here we go. Under the Trump admin's legal theory, companies that certify compliance with federal anti-discrimination laws while maintaining DEI programs deemed discriminatory could be accused of submitting false claims for government payment. Yeah, 100%. Interesting. Okay. Now, what did we have to go back to? We can go back to that Catherine Herridge bit. Probably turn off YouTube here. Sorry, guys. We'll leave you here in a few minutes. Well, let's take a spin elsewhere. Let's see what else we can find first. See if there's anything else we can turn up. Boop, boop, boop. Somalian girl in Minnesota. This is what they teach their young.
Support everyone, and because like people deserve to be here, because we shouldn't be illegal when this is literally like stolen land.
Yeah. We shouldn't be illegal because this is literally like stolen land. Yep. Okay, yeah, we got some fresh stuff to look at here. Absolutely. Okay. Oh, here's a look at that train crash in Mexico. Look at that.
Desafortunadamente así quedamos.
Whoa.
Se carriló este tren interoceánico que íbamos a Coaxo con toda mi familia. Muchísima gente está allá tirada. 2 vagones, 3 vagones. Afortunadamente y gracias a Dios, nosotros veníamos en el último vagón. Toda mi familia está bien. Pero muchísima gente. Estamos tratando de sacar gente porque sí es lamentablemente, está muy triste. Sentimos que el tren venía muy fuerte, no sabemos si se quedó sin freno, no sabemos, pero pues no sabemos. Gracias a Dios nuestro vagón es ese. Hasta allá nos quedamos bien, un poquito golpeados, pero.
Hey man. Quite a crash. Okay, that's all into you. Somali American take on what?
First things first, I'm actually so shocked that Trump is attacking us. I think
Really?
Trump should be thanking us in multiple ways, and I'm going to explain. First things first, I think we are a good example of what the American dream can look like.
Hilarious.
Like Somali Americans, and it's making me sad.
The data disagrees with you, ma'am. Like, drastically.
It's funny, like, I know Somali who are very funny. We're like the class clan who also happens to be valedictorian. Somalis in Minnesota are so successful. I take multiple...
The part that she's leaving out, possibly because she's Somali and likely has an IQ below 70, is that they're successful because they are literally raping the state for fucking billions of dollars.
Trips a year to Minnesota, and I leave so inspired. You have Somali-only, like, Somali-owned law firms, Somali-owned pharmacies, Somali-owned everything you can think of, and it's so inspiring to see that what my community could do in just 30 years. Literally, we came to this country not speaking English, not knowing anything. We're Black, Muslim, we're immigrant, and we're able to be that successful. It should be really applauded. Like, I need Trump to stand up and applaud for us because it's shocking. Literally, my friend just moved to Minnesota, and she was telling me how when she gave birth, it was
is this a joke?
All Somali staff. Her midwife was Somali. Her doctors were Somali. Her nurses were Somali. Like, that is so beautiful to see, and it should be celebrated, okay? Second of all, Trump, you should be thanking my people for giving a random Midwestern state that much clout and money. Like, I don't think, other than Chicago, I think Minnesota is really popping when it comes to tourism because of Somali Americans.
What?
Like me.
This has to be a joke.
Okay, so you should
can't be real.
Thanking us because Minnesota would have been nothing if Somalis didn't move there. Like, if we're being honest, like, we have made that state pop and we have made it beautiful for the rest of the world. So you should thank us, and if you want, you can donate Minnesota to the great country of Somalia. Like, I think it's a nice trade-off.
Like, this is just rage bait, right?
And last but not least, I'm so happy that people are discovering how funny, witty Somali people are. We're very confident. And although Trump said what he had to say, like, I want him to know.
Yeah, that's a hallmark of stupid people.
Yeah, and he, like,
overconfidence.
It didn't even, like, bother. Like, it didn't do anything to our confidence. We've heard everything you've said before. People always make fun of Somalia, da-da-da. But I still think I'm better than everyone. Like, God has made me Somali Muhammad. Like, I'm okay. I'm okay. On top of that, I'm Somali American, broski. Like, I'm winning on both sides. But yeah, it's just nice to see that everyone's realizing Somali who are very funny, very confident. And
no one's laughing, bitch.
And that's never gonna change. It has not changed since colonial days, baby boy. And it's not gonna change because somebody right now decided to make fun of us. We're actually winning the war, so. But yeah, that's all I have to say. First things.
Wow. That was really something. Still not sure what to think. Like, is it even... It was so top. But then again, they are that dumb. So, yeah. Absolutely could be real. What the heck? Delaware State Police identified Ramon Rose, gunman who killed Trooper... Oh, the DMV shooting. Yeah. Killed Trooper Matthew Ty Snook at the DMV on December 23rd. Opened fire, was later killed by cops. Oh, man, he was a schizo. He was a freaking schizo. A targeted individual gang stalking schizo. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Whoa. It's definitely interesting. Yikes. Florida man. Why not? Okay. Florida man loses $3,800 gambling and then robs store and smashes gaming machines in response.
Dramatic video out of Hialeah. Look at this guy take a sledgehammer. Yes, a sledgehammer to the gaming machines inside this food store. We're at RC La Atina's Market. Cops say he lost nearly $4 grand, turned to smash them and grab cash. Cops say Arzola entered the store just after 11:45 p.m., and you can see it all play out, jumping over the counter, snatching the clerk's cell phone, demanding she go to the bathroom. You can see the victim and hear her. She's in fear. According to the report, Arzola smashed the 4 gambling machines, taking the money inside, stuffing the cash into his pockets and boots, then ransacked the counter and register area. We have all the videos showing this. Police say the clerk told investigators
Didn't take him long to get caught.
That Arzola had been in the store earlier and was, quote, upset because he lost money. According to the report, the surveillance video helped detectives identify Arzola.
Armed robbery.
Wow. Pulse deploys the National Guard due to snow. All right.
Governor Walz, what can you say about the latest on the Somali fraud that happened under your watch, sir?
Governor, have you been able to apologize yet to the people of Minnesota for allowing this Somali fraud to continue under your watch?
Of the people of Minnesota.
Is it time to apologize? How about the whistleblowers that you have allegedly retaliated against? Would you like to respond to the whistleblowers?
And right now, our neighbors are being demonized. Our neighbors are being terrorized. Our neighbors are being picked up off the streets.
Wow.
The antidote to that is positive actions to improve lives that go against what they're trying to do. So instead of demonizing our Somali community, we're going to do more to welcome orient and welcome people there. Instead of covering we're going to
Governor Walz, what can
Astounding, dude. All right, that's pretty. Go. Okay. Aftermath of Ukrainian city of Toretsk after the Russian invasion. Whoa! Good God. Wow. There's not a single building in sight that's untouched. Not one. Not even a shed. Yikes, man. All right. Fetterman, you can check more of that out. We'll come back to that. Former Somali Prime Minister Kairi at a Minnesota rally for Ilhan Omar. The interests of Ilhan are not Ilhan's. It's not the interest of Minnesota, her interests. Nor is it the interest of the American people. The interests of Ilhan Omar is that of the Somalian people and Somalia. Just says it right out in the open. Ilhan Omar does not care about America or its people. She cares about Somalia. She says it. And she stands there smiling at him. Doesn't care about Minnesota. Look at that. Look at that. He smiled at that. Like, what? Is this? crazy. Or what this event was. Some rally for her, okay. Good God. Ukraine reportedly launched drone strikes targeting Russian President Putin's residence in Novgorod. 9th. Okay. Lavrov says the attack will prompt a reassessment of its negotiating stance. Here we go again. Surprise, surprise. ICE is intensifying enforcement against illegal alien truck drivers holding CDLs.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yep.
Performing routine checks at upstate New York truck stop.
Good morning. ISIS is over here cracking everybody now. That's the. I got checked to myself. They checking illegal aliens. So they're be careful.
Oh, this one's warning them. Dirtbag. I found one that needs to be deported. You missed him.
ISIS is over.
I don't care if he's got a passport.
They're cracking everybody now. That's the.
This one needs to go.
I got checked to myself. They checking illegal aliens. So drivers, be careful.
Dirtbag. Leftist inside a store, grabbing copies of Charlie Cook's new posthumous book and kicking them under shelves. Wow. Is that a walker? Okay, that's a cart. Wow. What are you, like 12?
No.
Oh, more Ilhan. Is from that same rally or something?
In jidadkeennii aan wada dhisano anigu waan ahay gabar.
On some Somali TV network. We must fix our roads.
No. In jidadkeennii aan wada dhisano anigu waan ahay gabar.
I am an American migrant.
Mareykanka laga doortay oo Congress-ka.
In the U.S. Congress.
Laakiin waxaan ahay.
But I am a Somali girl.
Gabar idinku jinsi
A girl with your lineage.
gabar
A girl with your language, with your religion. That was a young child taken from her country.
wadankeedii laga
That
kaxeeyay.
misses her country and wishes to live there. And share with its people. I am hopeful in the future that me and my children will be able to raise our kids in this land where I was born and raised. Well, I have great news for you, Ilhan. We can totally make that happen. Records show that Quality Leering Center was investigated over a dozen times by Minnesota's Department of Human Services between 2019 and 2023, accumulating 95 violations, yet it was still continuing to receive more than $8 million in funding in total. Is that what Tim Walz meant when he said they investigated fraud and, shut one of these places down? Which, again, I'm almost certain he's referring to one of these places that they shut down and then they just like literally reopened at the same location, same address, with a new name. All the same people, and kept right on doing the same shit they were. I almost guarantee you that's what he's talking about.
By visiting Quality Learning Center. I started by visiting Quality Learning Center Daycare.
So it is that 14 feet.
which sits right in the heart of downtown Minneapolis. Between 2019 and 2023, the Minnesota Department of Human Services found 95 violations at this location. They range from failure to keep hazardous items away from children to no records for 16 children, which include things like immunizations, emergency contacts, and medical needs. So state investigators placed Quality Learning Center on a conditional license in 2022. I went to the daycare's location several times, and only once did I see people there.
Oh, that's your daycare.
But I did not see any children.
So there are 80 kids in there?
No.
After school? Okay, gotcha. All right, thank you.
DHS declined an interview, but in a statement acknowledged Quality Learning Center was put on a conditional license because of its poor safety record. But it still received nearly $8 million in taxpayers' money since 2019.
Bonkers,
its
man.
conditional status removed in 2024.
Wow. They had the conditional status taken off. So they were back to normal after all that shit. Continuing to receive funding. President Trump has concluded a positive call with President Putin concerning Ukraine as of about 45 minutes ago. Trump saying a Russia-Ukraine peace deal is very close.
Is there any indication that you see that Vladimir Putin wants peace by what he's doing or saying?
Me not be honest.
Me not be honest. You give money.
And I don't
I take money.
See it because, first of all, I don't hear it publicly, his message.
Wow. Acting ICE Director Todd Lyons reveals almost 221,000 people have applied to become new ICE recruits. Whoa.
So we've had almost 221,000 new recruits or applicants that have applied to be new recruits. You would think that the staggering amount of violence against ICE special agents and deportation officers would decrease our recruiting, but it actually hasn't had that effect. I think what a lot of people want to do is they want to get into federal law enforcement. They want to work for a quality law enforcement agency, and that's what we're seeing here in this. But, it makes us feel better to know the fact that we have so many people behind us that would still want to join ICE and join the ICE mission, be a law enforcement officer, even though they're getting demonized and attacked every day. So it's definitely giving us hope.
Yep.
So we've had...
That is a good sign. We're going to need it. We're going to need all those numbers and more to get all these people out. That is definitely good to see. I imagine a lot of those people are finishing their training and probably getting put out there on the streets as we speak up through next year. And hopefully it won't slow and will continue. New recruits continuing to pour in. I'm telling you, we're going to need that and more. A lot of people that we got to get out. Walz calls for fraud investigation. Oh, wait, pardon. He calls the fraud investigation white supremacy. You're kidding me.
This is what happens when they target communities for their own benefit. This is what happens when they scapegoat. And
this one I saw this.
What happens when they no longer hide the idea of white supremacy.
So it sounds to me, Nick, that Governor Tim Walz is saying that you and others that are out there trying to expose this, you're doing it because you're white supremacists. What is your response to him?
Yeah, Tim wants votes. There are entire apartment complexes where white people have been pushed out of these apartment complexes because Somalians have taken over and they're inside of these towns like Minneapolis where they can go get votes from these people. And if you have 100,000 people that will vote for you because you're going to enable and let this stuff happen and because you're going to call a white person racist for calling out facts, this is what's going to happen to a state like Minnesota. Minnesotans, they say Minnesota nice, but they are very upset. And I totally understand why they're upset. Because they don't have a governor who's actually working for them. He's actually working against them.
Nick, your video's been viewed 93 million times. What do you think will be the result of this? Do you think that things will change because of bringing attention to this, or do you think it'll be much the same, swept under the rug and keep moving forward?
Yeah, there better be change. People are demanding it. The investigations have been launched just from that video alone. And so there better be change because, like I said, we work way too hard to be paying taxes. We work way too hard to be not knowing where our money's going. And at the end of the day, people in the government, they work for us. We don't work for them. And so it's their responsibility to hold these people accountable. And so if there's not something that's happened, people are going to be very frustrated. And so if President Trump's watching this, it's time to really get down to nitty gritty and to make a difference in this place of Minnesota that is pretty much like Somaliland right now.
Yep. Out of control, man. All right, let's go back to Fetterman. We'll listen to some more of that.
Never going to change my party, but clearly we've lost the argument, and right now I think it's entirely appropriate to really be honest and just figure out why exactly have we effectively lost 2 out of the last 3 cycles, and a lot of the things we've really kind of really lost our connection with American voters in ways, and I think we can't just be, well, Trump
in ways
is always wrong, or that we're going to set the country on fire, or whatever. That's just not true either, of course. But, you know, when I represent a state like Pennsylvania, that keeps you honest, and you always can't forget that a lot of Americans happen to disagree with you. That does not mean that they are fascists or now they want to shred the Constitution.
When you hear some Democrats saying Trump is acting like an autocrat.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. If you actually compare him to an actual autocrat, that is not just that. Now, last night, for example, people were complaining. They were protesting about, oh, that's the Hitler thing. You just
Hitler thing.
Don't ever compare anyone to Hitler and those kinds of extreme things. Now look what happened to Charlie Kirk. I mean, you know, the man was.
This is the best that they've got right here. This is like the smartest. This is the smartest in the Democrat playing field.
God, now we have to turn the temperature down. It's like we can't compare people to these kinds
I actually like Fetterman.
Figures in history, and this is not an autocrat. This is a product of a democratic election.
So you don't think that Trump is at all shattering any of the norms of democracy in any way?
I'm saying he's definitely different, but that's what America voted for. Again, I don't agree with many of these things, but that does not make him an autocrat.
But one of the things I hear from Democrats a lot saying a reason why voters may not like Democrats is because they don't fight hard enough. Democrats should be fighting harder. What do you say to folks who say that?
What exactly is fighting?
Yeah, what does that mean?
I mean, what is fighting?
Fight how?
You know, delay more votes, or just vote every no on everything, or saying, well, if they're doing X, well, then that means it's wrong, that kind of a thing.
What?
It's like, what exactly is fighting?
I'll give you an example. It could be shutting the government down. Like some Democrats say, if this happens, it'll be Trump's fault.
That's not fighting. That's mutilating our nation. If you vote to shut our government down, you are going to harm millions of Americans. And why would you do this? Where's our leverage? It was wrong. It was wrong for the Republicans to do that. Absolutely, that's true.
He's getting better. I'll say that. He's getting more coherent in his speech.
It is wrong.
I mean, it's taken a while. I don't know if it's like it's recovery from his stroke, or if it's just the fact that he's getting more used to talking in front of cameras or what. But he's starting to kind of roll back on the goofy, like stumbling over words and losing his train of thought. It's obviously still happening. No, it's nowhere near as bad as it used to be, I think.
For the Republicans to do that,
he's getting much better at long, extended strings of coherent speech.
Just be wrong for us for those things.
Bigger picture, has your party shifted or have you shifted ideologically?
my party is acting in a way they have forgotten. They have forgotten one of the reasons why we lost in 2024. Some of the most extreme things were weaponized against that, and now some people think now we have to double down on those things, or we must become more progressive or more extreme. That's absolutely not true. The 7 or 8 states that are going to determine who's going to be the next president, we have to win in those states, and I understand what that takes. And a lot of these ideas that are now putting back and being reintroduced are not going to carry, Pennsylvania.
Speaking of which, you're talking about what's happening in New York. Zoran Mamdani, Democratic Socialist. He is the Democratic nominee, and polls do say that he is ahead by a significant margin in that race. I mean, is this where your party is headed, and is it a wake-up call to Democrats like yourself?
I don't believe that. New York City is not reflective of our national political things. Certainly the states are going to determine who's going to be the next president. So I don't take any kinds of lessons or anything from that election.
Trump is threatening to send the National Guard into a number of these blue cities, blue states. We've seen Democratic mayors in Chicago and in Baltimore resist federal help, additional federal help. Is that a good idea to fight Trump on this?
No, what I'll say is, like, I experienced that, it's like I live in Navy Yard. I would walk to work, and I would see a lot of National Guard people. It honestly wasn't a big deal. They were friendly. They were standing around. And this wasn't like there were Russian army people. This was, it's our sons, our daughters, our fathers, our mothers kind of a thing. If you actually experience it on the ground, it's really not like it's not occupied city or anything. So for me, when I was a mayor, I was a small town mayor, I asked for help. I asked for help to confront gun violence and crime. If I was a mayor and I had a significant kinds of violence situation, I would be happy to get help. Honestly, for that.
Should they
I've done that.
And do you think they should too? Chicago, Baltimore, and the like, they should accept it.
All I'm saying that it's like when 600 people are killed in Chicago every year, roughly. I think it's entirely appropriate.
Are you comfortable with the way these ICE raids have been carried out in some of these cities?
Not entirely. No. I believe we should have a secure border. And I absolutely believe you should round up all of the criminals, and I do think you should deport those. But I don't think it's really helpful to raid a factory and round up all of them and deport them. I don't think it's appropriate to go to like a slaughterhouse in Nebraska and round them up and deport them things. That's not true either. I don't think America really supports those things. I think 2 things must be true: a secure border, round up all the criminals, but we don't and shouldn't target otherwise hardworking migrants that are just effectively making a significant contribution to our economy.
I wonder politically, you talk about what happened, and Democrats may not have learned the lessons from the last election. Do you think the issues of crime...
Like the border, for example, yeah. the border, those kind of things. We are living in the backlash of a lot of the things and the mistake that we have made as a party.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that's what I was going to ask you. Are crime and immigration... Are you worried that there will be liabilities for Democrats in the midterms next year?
If you are willing to sink, like if 600 homicides a year are okay, or we don't need help. If I was mayor, I'd be like, absolutely, I'd be grateful for help. Just because if Trump is calling for something X, Y, and Z, then that doesn't mean you have to necessarily oppose that. I think I was the only Democrat that supported.
Sorry, I had to go hit the restroom.
Striking the Iranian nuclear facilities too. That was entirely appropriate. I think that was the right thing to do, and I really believe that too.
You think the party has not learned the lessons from last year? That's fair to say, right?
It's not. It hasn't been a year. It hasn't been a year yet, right now, and that's what I'd like to remind people. It's like a lot of those things really cost our election now. I don't think there has been an effective evaluation. I don't have an exact answer, but I'm not going to just spit out things and pretend that I know that it's absolutely right.
One of the issues you found yourself on the opposite sides of your party is on the issue of Israel. Are you comfortable with the way that Netanyahu is waging this war in Gaza right now, including these strikes in Qatar?
I absolutely fully support continue to destroy Hamas for that. And now, of course, this.
Oh boy, I can't hear anything. Got a leaf blowers outside the window right there. Might not be picking it up, but it's loud. Come on, guys. They're doing the stairs right here. Lead down to the basement door. Okay. Almost done. Oh, en español. Okay, think they moved on to the backyard.
Situations in Gaza, it is difficult, but for some people, they choose to blame Israel for that. I blame Hamas, I blame Iran, and I blame that. So for me, that's what, and people aren't speaking the truth that Hamas could send the hostages home and disarm, and then that's the first opportunity that we could all move on, and the Palestinians could finally have an opportunity to live in peace, and they could start to rebuild their lives.
Were you okay with the strike that they just had in Doha against the Hamas leadership, the Israel? Were you okay with that?
Absolutely, it's appropriate. Unless Hamas is willing to surrender and send people home. That's a war, and it's a just war.
Oh boy, here they go again.
There's no ethnic cleansing. It's not a genocide. This is a just war, and I don't know why people blame Hamas for those circumstances right now, that it's not Israel's.
They say that the Israel is using starvation as a weapon. Are they?
No, absolutely.
They're doing the stairs again. No idea. All right. Well, anything that I can read? Saw these. Good golly. At least you guys can't hear it. Okay, that's good. I can't hear myself think, so. All right, yeah, we saw that. Okay, let's go to... Good golly. Come on, dudes. All right. Oh, we could watch this. I missed this, so check that out. Oh, wait, no, let's go back to that Catherine Herridge thing. Do that. Fake news analyst Mara Gay on the Trump admin. Honey. Ooh, what is it? Butter, coffee, cashew. That's good. It's yummy. Thank you. Okay, let's see. Fake news analyst Mara Gay on the Trump admin investigating Somali fraud in Minnesota. What does MS Now have to say?
The question is, why is this a priority in a different kind of way? The politicization of the DOJ and the FBI is undeniable. So whether they are reliable narrators is the big question. And this is what happens when you weaponize and politicize federal agencies that are not meant to be, politicized. And I think the American people are right to ask the question, well, can we trust you? And that's a sad thing to say as an American. Let's recall, too, that there's also other scandals in other states. For example, the Mississippi welfare scandal. And this is not unique to politics. Americans know that. But of course, the other factor here is that because it looks like the Somali population in Minnesota, the Somali immigrant population may have been at involved in some way, those people are being scapegoated, and that community is being scapegoated in a way that certainly serves the far right. And so
community,
that's also something to keep an eye on, and that's inappropriate.
They're all in on it, ma'am. All of them. They all benefit from it. They all know it's happening. Okay. Pending sales of U.S. existing homes climbed by more than expected in November as a modest improvement in prices and mortgage rates encouraged buyers. Highest level since early 2023. Ugh. Oh boy. Okay, let's go to... And by the way, if any host listening in feels like I'm going to take the wheel for, what is it, next hour, I think. Feel free. I'm running out of steam, so. Yeah, next hour. Yeah, the door is open. Feel free to jump in if you want. Let's see. That one. There it is.
This week, we hear from two veterans of the New York City Police Department. Between them, they have more than 5 decades of law enforcement experience. They say the city is at a tipping point as Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani.
I don't remember where we left off on this one. Probably around here.
So you ran day-to-day operations. What's the current staffing level for the NYPD, and how many officers are eligible to retire in January?
So right now we're at about 33,400. What we need is probably about 40,000. We were a long time ago. And in 2026, there's 4,000 cops that can leave. Will they leave? Remains to be seen. But if you're a 20-year veteran and your overtime's being cut and you don't like what you see coming from the mayor's office, why would you stay? Yep. So this is going to be quick, and we'll get the results within probably the first quarter of the year.
Tariq, you've been a police officer on the beat. You started in the Bronx, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what would it mean for the policing levels to drop to, say, 30,000?
I think we're talking about response times. I think we're talking about cops not being able to get a day off, which affects morale. And this is one of the main reasons why cops go and choose another police department over the NYPD and they leave.
Yeah, we did see this
and
part.
Also,
right.
There was the right time, the right place. Department, you're not only connected to the work that you do, you're connected to the men and women who are coming up behind you, but you're also connected to the communities in which you serve. And you care about those people, you can care about those communities, and you want to see them safe. And we both live in New York City. And so I'm part of now the community. I retired. I want to see it safe. I want to see my cops happy. I want to see my cops wanting to do the job.
That brings me to my next question. When it was clear in the fall that Zohran Mamdani was going to become the next mayor of New York City, you both decided to retire. John, why did you retire?
Well, part of it was that under Mayor Eric Adams, a person who trusted me and let me run this department operationally, there was no way that the incoming mayor was going to allow me to do that. And even when I left prior to the election, the writing was on the wall. And that's part of the reason why I left. It was the right time, the right place. But now as I move forward in 2026, I could still help the rank and file with who I am and some of the things I want to talk about. But that was a main reason why I left.
Were you getting indicators that the next mayor would fire you?
Well, no indicators, but my approach to policing, my approach to what Tariq said about the locker room, the cops, the mentality, did not align with what I was hearing from his camp. So there was no way my mentality would work with his mentality. So that did play a part in it.
Tariq, you also made a decision to retire once the new mayor was elected. Why?
Yeah, I left a little bit before that, but I think also, again, the writing was on the wall. You saw the direction in which it was going. And I think that the mayor-elect, we'll see if he was just over-promising to get elected or if he really believes in these fundamental principles that he's been putting forward to the community of New York City. And if that's the case, I'm definitely not in alignment with that. I thought it was alarming to me, and it was time to start thinking about myself a little bit more. And I knew that the way I care about the city, the way I care about the men and women of the police department, it was time for me to be in a neutral standpoint where I can talk about and educate people on what's going to go on in New York City.
When you hear the calls to defund the police, bail reform, closing prisons, you think what?
I think it's offensive. When I think about bail reform, I first think about victims. Whether you are in a poor community or in a wealthy community, you want to see people held accountable for the crimes that they commit. And when you constantly see people come through a revolving door of justice, it is offensive to the communities in which they think they're helping. Most of the victims are Black and brown as well. Yep. And you have to focus on them before you focus on making the criminal whole.
So is it fair to assess that you feel the incoming mayor is more focused on the perpetrators versus the victims?
Yep.
Oh, absolutely. He's about social policing. He's about that people who commit crimes, the recidivists, the repeat offenders, it's almost to the point where it's not their fault. We're going to go back to a place where the cop is the bad guy and the bad guy is a victim of circumstance. We've been down this road before, and we fought so hard to bring it back a little bit, but now we're going back to it. It is not a good recipe, all right? We're a very benevolent city. We want to give people second chances, but who we can't give second chances to is the arch criminals. And that's who's hurting the city. And we've got to realize that as a community. Tariq said communities don't want this. And that's the problem. And we're going backwards. And it's going to be a real issue.
Tariq, is it fair to assess your thinking is that the mayor-elect is saying one thing, which may be politically motivated, but it may be something quite different when he's sitting behind the desk?
Yeah, he's many of these things he's not going to be able to accomplish. It's easy to say it to get elected. It's another thing to govern and trying to accomplish these things. Saying that you want to make the buses free, I think we've already established that that's not going to happen. But it sounded good, and maybe that's one of the reasons why he generated, support around him. I think that when we look at recidivism, when we look at issues what he calls minor crimes, I think when he governs, he's going to realize that minor crimes is what leads to your major crimes. When you ignore gambling, when you ignore loud music, when you ignore double parking and crowd conditions.
You get the behavior you tolerate.
That's where you get your homicides, your shootings, your stabbings, and your violence from. So he's going to learn quickly that minor crime is what leads to major crime. And calling these things minor crimes, most people don't experience shootings in New York City. Their felony crime is the stuff that he's calling minor. When you can't sleep because of loud music and the police are afraid to address it because they don't want to be in trouble by the administration, you're going to have a problem in New York City. And that's what we fought against when Mayor Adams came in. We fought back against quality of life. And that is most people's felony, is quality of life.
The key to success in New York City is every department in this country, we catch the bad guy. We do catch a criminal. It might take a week, might take a day, a month. But the quality of life is what drives the mentality, the perception piece. Perception is hard to fight. But when you come out of your house on Block A and you see maybe a homeless person, no offense, homeless person, and you see the car that's been abandoned, that is what strikes people's attention as to, wow, this city's bad. And I think he's going to go away from all the quality of life pieces, and it's going to ruin the fabric of the city. And that's a big problem.
We've been doing a lot of research on this topic, and we've heard that some of these aggravating factors are cost of living, bail reform, qualified immunity, this sort of sense for the police that the administration doesn't have their back if there's a claim against them. But we've also heard a lot about the protests in the city. What is the issue with the protests?
Well, we always go back to October 7th, from October 7th of 23, we've had over 7,000 protests. And we really didn't make too many video reels nationwide. Our team did it very well. But now the protesters with the incoming mayor think, hey, we could do what we want now.
Yeah.
And again, the visual aspect of this, the safety aspect of this, what the community sees. Can you imagine New York City in coming 2026? Protesters run a ramp.
No idea what it's going to bring, but we're going to find out soon.
And the mayor allows it. And the cops stand back and say, well, I'm scared to do anything. Not good for the city.
Oh, interesting. Thank you. 76 Red Pills, Nick Shirley live with Alex Jones. Why not? I mean, I can't really stand Edge, but I'll give Mr. Shirley a listen. Why not? Do that.
You're about to be working on new investigations. We'll just leave it at that for your security issues. But wow, what you've discovered, what you've seen, things that haven't been released yet. Some first look at what we're about to be witnessing here. The public is like, where are the indictments? Where's the FBI? Well, let's be fair. You just broke your investigation 3-4 days ago. But this is open and shut. This is equivalent at each facility of a massive bank robbery, cut and dry. Nick Shirley, this is just amazing.
Yeah, it's been crazy to see how long this has been going on for, and now to see the public's reaction. I mean, this has been going on for years now. I just did one video exposing what was happening. And so think about obviously the $100 million that I found, but think about the other billions of dollars that has just been laundered around the world, sent to Somalia, sent to other parts of the world. And I have more about how that money and where that money goes once it comes in here, once they receive the money. But the fraud is exuberant, Alex.
Unbelievable. I mean, obviously your reports are amazing. We can see it happening there, but describe what it's like to actually, be there, to be tailed, to be harassed, to be threatened, to have the police, coming after you saying you're not allowed to go knock on doors. I mean, you can really see the whole system. Not just the Somalis are part of this criminal activity. Just 3 years ago, Minnesota had a $16 million surplus. Now it's a $20+ million deficit. I mean, this is dramatic.
Yeah, it is absolutely dramatic, because literally they used to be in a surplus of billions of dollars. Now they're in a deficit. And this is all happening underneath Tim Walz. And the thing here, like you mentioned, the police, they do not have your back. It's very sad. They came after me saying I was harassing people for just simply asking for healthcare rates. And I kept it all in the video for everybody to see, so that way people can't say I'm trying to twist things around. But that was just the pure facts of what was happening. And then back in June, the Somalis even jumped me when I was with me and my mom inside of one of their communities. They snagged my camera. They're threatening to beat me. There are Somali gangs just roaming around Minnesota and around Minneapolis. And they're very territorial in a sense that if you come inside their community and if they look at you as opposition, you're treated like it.
It's a major story in the country. Tim Walz's response to it. I want to play that and get your response. And then, I don't know if you've seen this yet, people have been calling the phone numbers on these education centers and these preschools and other facilities. It's not just one now, more videos, and they go to Tim Walz's office. Are you aware of this?
Yes. Someone, I saw that video this morning. I reshared it with everybody, because literally the phone numbers to the daycare centers online revert back to the office of Tim Walz, the governor's office.
Wow, let's play a short clip of the governor responding to this, claiming that this is white supremacy to find $24 million of fraud. Here it is.
This is what happens when they target communities for their own benefit. This is what happens when they scapegoat. And this is what happens when they no longer hide the idea of white supremacy.
So it sounds to me, Nick, that Governor Tim Walz is saying that you and others that are out there trying to expose this,
Right, so let's go back to Nick. You get his take on this. I mean, this is total desperation here, and it's all over the country. And all they can do is say, you're bad because you one company, 5 million, 3 million, 8 million, feeding kids and no kids are being fed, and it's a P.O. box. I mean, it's just so cut and dry.
It's deflection by Tim Walz to try. It's worked so long for specifically the Democrats to deflect and to call people racist, to call them Islamophobic, to call them Nazis, to call them a white supremacist, whatever it may be. It's been a deflection tactic by the left to get people to turn a blind eye while they've been funneling millions and billions of dollars to these companies. And now people are sick of it. It's not racist to call out fraud. It's not racist to say that, oh yeah, maybe Somalis in Minnesota, these Somali-ran businesses, not all Somalis are bad, but it's not racist to say that a Somali-ran business is committing fraud. If a white business was committing fraud, we'd also be saying the same thing. And we are saying the same thing when we talk about fraud as well.
Well, I know what my listeners are saying, and I'm sure you're getting it as well. What is your view or idea of how fast we should see a DOJ task force, not just an ICE task force there rounding up illegal aliens? Over half of the Somalis they've now proven came in with fraudulent names, fraudulent information, or there illegally. We need to obviously deport them. The DOJ has announced that most of the funding to these federal programs is now being cut, but that's not enough. I mean, we need to see serious action. And I don't see with your report being so mega viral and now all these other reporters going out to other addresses and duplicating and just literally showing it in live time. I don't see how the Trump administration doesn't take total action. And I don't see how at the end of the day, the governor and Ilhan Omar, who we've tracked back to setting up the scams in the last 4 years, and then protecting it, and then clear money and campaign donations going to them and also going to Somalia. I don't see how they don't all go to prison. So I'll say this: if we don't see Ilhan Omar and Governor Walz and others indicted very, very soon, I'm going to be very upset. And bare minimum, we better see mass indictments of these Somalis running these open and shut scams.
Yeah, there better be. I mean, we're demanding it. Everyone's demanding it. It's been so interesting. The reason why my video did so well is because I'm not trying to point this as a left or right issue. I'm trying to show that fraud is fraud. Literally, Alex, me and you, we work hard. Every American works hard. And it's not fun whether it's 20% or 50% of your paycheck going back into the hands of the government, while people are quite literally receiving billions of dollars in funding that's tax exempt and then sending that money back to fund terrorist groups like the Al-Shabaab, or even if it's just going to their pockets tax-free. We work so hard. It's not fair to any American. This is not a left or right issue. This is just a pure fact that fraud is fraud, and American people are sick of people taking our money that we work so hard for.
People can find you on YouTube at Nick Shirley. They can obviously follow you on X. Everyone should, but I've seen a lot of your reports. You've been doing this for years. You've been doing it in Europe. Just briefly, what got you started in all this?
Yeah, so I started getting involved into politics when I was in high school. Unfortunately, back in 2020, you couldn't even put Trump's name in a thumbnail or in a title without your video getting demonetized, especially when you're a lower creator. And I actually have been watching. I've been watching you, Joe, for a long time. You and Joe Rogan. I think your podcast is what really struck a nerve in me when I was a young high schooler, and I've always been interested in, but you couldn't really do anything about it until now that censorship's been lifted, because we've seen what happens to people like you, Fuentes, Kanye, anybody that speaks out against anything like that, they can come and censor you. However, with Elon buying X, it really leveled out the playing field, and it made all these other social media companies get to a level where they have to allow free speech to happen, or else they're going to lose viewership. So I've been interested. I've been doing this YouTube politic investigative journalism for 2 years straight now. Every single week for the past more than 104 weeks, I've posted a video every single week, and this has been the biggest story we've broken. But this is just a combination of just consistency and hard work.
So how old are you?
I'm 23.
All right, so think about this, folks. A 23-year-old in 2 years, notice I said 2 years, that's about how long I've been. You immediately had a big effect. I remember when you popped up, just doing simple, smart things, take a little bit of courage and effort, and change the world. You've been having a big effect since day one. Now, your videos, conservatively, in the last week have 30 times the views of 60 Minutes. Why does Trump obsess over 60 Minutes with 3 million viewers? Why does he went on Elon, had 1 billion listeners. And I'm not mad at the president. I just hope he gets at 79. Sir, this is what you need to be supporting. And not just, being interviewed by Nick Shirley. You need to get the feds very easily can go out with their own information corps, and the Border Patrol, everybody needs their own information corps to go out and show this stuff in live time. And citizens need to do what I've done and what Nick Shirley's done and others, because this stuff is everywhere. In 10 minutes, I can take you 5 minutes to fake learning centers right over here on Old Torf. 3 minutes, okay? I can show you the same stuff being run by all sorts of other organizations, not just Somalis. But I can drive 10 minutes, we're getting ready to do it soon, and show Somalis running the same scams with the autism centers and the fake daycares and all of it. It is everywhere, and it's not just the Somalis. It's the Muslim community in general. In Europe, 90% of them are on welfare. 80% of the crimes and rapes are them. These are the groups coming here, as they say, to colonize us, to take over. They call themselves settlers. And under the Quran, we are the enemy. They're allowed to do anything they want to us because we are not in Islam. So this is literally a pirate invasion force. You are the modern Paul Revere. And when I look at you and that great investigator we just call, David, obviously, so he doesn't get killed. He's already been stabbed and attacked recently. People understand it's simple, but it takes courage and it changes the world. So can you speak to David, the investigator, and just other amazing individuals, and then give us a little idea, without letting the enemy know the specifics with intel, what's coming next? I know you've got a lot more you're about to do.
Yeah, big shout to David, because he's really what helped me expose this fraud, because he has all of the numbers. He's been investigating this for years. But what's more to come here with fraud here in the United States, most things are public records. So when you go and confront these people, it's very obvious when there is fraud taking place. That's one. But it's a huge network of different companies and systems of companies working together. They're all of the, whether it's a daycare, adult daycare, the healthcare, they're all intertwined, especially here in Minnesota. And so when people start looking at these in other places across the United States, you'll find the same thing as well, that they're all intertwined. It's not just some one-off family who's deciding that, oh, we should start a daycare. No, it's a whole network of people all working together. There's webs put together. And here in Minnesota, what's crazy is people have the Leering Daycare Center. It had multiple violations for years, yet they still received $1.9 million. And so it's a whole web of people working together, embedded within the government. Right now, you see Tim Walz, he tries to call people like me a white supremacist and stuff like that. They're all working hand in hand to get this money. It's not just, you just can't allow this to happen, and you can't be stupid enough, especially if you're in the government, to decide, well, this daycare's had 5 violations, let's give it another $2 million.
And again, you went to facility after facility after facility. What was it, like 15 you went to in one day, and still had time the same day to go to the legislature at the end of the hearings and expose and confront people with that. And so there's thousands more of these you could go to in just those Twin Cities. It's exciting, though, to now see other independent journalists going and doing it. But what I'm noticing is there's not a lot of local media doing that on-the-ground stuff. They end up reporting on what you're doing, which, again, shows how, in the establishment, real investigative journalism is basically dead.
Yeah, they're incompetent to be able to do it, because what they have to do is they make their video, they have to send it to an editor, and then that editor and the head person above has to then go and approve that video. And so their way of getting their news out has to go through 5 different hands. By that time, it's been twisted in 10 different ways versus it just being fact-based and as transparent as possible. And so that's why people like me and people like you, other investigative journalists, are able to actually expose stuff thanks to people like Elon Musk, by giving us X, that platform, the most beautiful platform to be able to share information. That way it can go straight from the producer to the consumer in one way.
Well, that's right. You know, when Elon bought X and went through all that hell and was a game changer for all of us to be able to get the information out to get Trump in, now it's forced a lot of the other big tech to cut back a lot of their censorship. We're seeing it everywhere. From TikTok to YouTube, suddenly our stuff's dominating again, and many others. he was the game changer, and then the bad guys administration ran him out. He's now coming back. And then I really have just lauded Musk because I'm so thankful for myself, my family, the country. And some people are like, oh, you just kiss Musk's ass. Well, when I get, our ship sinks and he's the lifeboat, I absolutely love Elon Musk. I appreciate Elon Musk. Absolutely. I absolutely back him. And I think we don't give him enough praise for the hell and the terror attacks and all the stuff they did to his company and him. And Reuters got hundreds of millions from the U.S. government to stalk and harass him with private investigators. I mean, we forget the warriors that have stood for us. And Elon Musk has been the game changer. What would you like to say? Would you like to publicly thank Elon Musk? What would you say to Elon Musk right now?
Just thank you. Really, thank you, because what he did by just leveling out the playing field and giving us a platform where we can speak freely, he's not only helped save the United States, he's helping save the United Kingdom, as people are actually able to speak out, whether or not they're able to speak out all across the world. I mean, X is the #1 news source for most countries in the world right now, because that people are able to get that news just straight from their phone without having to go through and get a subscription from the Wall Street Journal to get some propaganda piece. You can get it straight from your phone, and you can follow the people that you trust and that are actually out there in the streets talking to people. So thank you, Elon Musk, because what he's done has helped shape society in many ways, whether it be the election or whether it just be making it so that we can all speak freely here in the United States. And you're seeing the ripple effect across the other countries as well.
And he really did it. I mean, he let the nastiest people from all different angles and groups, even some of the stuff I said, I can't believe this is, but I get it's free speech. Wow. Because he said, I believe the marketplace of ideas. I believe the truth in the end will come out. And now it has exploded to
freedom of speech, not freedom of reach.
#1 basically all over the world. It's just exponentially growing. And
sorry. I like Shirley, but come on. Tonguing Elon's butt. Really?
He literally did that and has now empowered billions of people to put out their ideas, their research, their on-the-ground information. And again, it's so fashionable.
It'd be nice if I could believe that.
With people that bash,
which I can't,
Trump all day and say he's not doing a good enough job, and the same people act like they're patriots but bash Elon all day. They don't spend any time with the Democrats, though. No. They're with us, but they're the gatekeepers. They're the authorities. They're the real.
Why does Elon's website continue to censor people? Why does it continue to shadow ban people?
Really holy people, that sit back and say, oh no, Alex Jones is too optimistic and Trump sucks and Elon sucks, while they're on that very platform able to say whatever they want to do, acting like we're the establishment. No, we're taking America and the world back. We're the revolutionaries. We're exposing all this. And when Trump gets off track, we hold his feet to the fire, and almost always he course corrects. This is beautiful. I mean, think of what would happen if Kamala Harris was in right now. The censorship would be worse than ever. The economy would be totally collapsed. They'd still be.
All right. I'm getting tired of this. Enough of him. All right. Let's keep going here. What else we can find? DHS is going door to door investigating suspected fraud sites in Minneapolis. Nice. Kitty ass little corner store. Smoke shop. Yep.
You know when the last time someone's been there? I see locked up and closed, but we had. Have you seen anybody come and go from there?
Yesterday I was working in Jordan.
Wish I could hear what they're saying.
I go around, so yesterday I was not here. Okay. So I'm not sure, to be honest with you.
What were they asking?
No. You know when the last time someone's been there? I see locked up and closed, but we had.
They're asking about a different store. They're asking about some other place that is locked up and closed. Have you ever seen anyone over there?
Have you seen anybody come and go from there?
Yesterday I was working in Jordan. I go around, so yesterday I was not here.
Interesting.
Provided dimension is the location.
Conducting a massive investigation on childcare and other rampant fraud.
Are there any subcontractors or anything you guys deal with? Like, say like other businesses that you partner with that you use for a service of any kind, maybe transportation or anything like that?
No. We provide. Usually parents, they come like this, drop the kids, they go to us, and then we take care of them.
Awesome.
This is going to get interesting.
Who actually oversees the receipt of those documents?
We're dumping resources into this now. This is good. Ooh, look at this. Someone else is searching in their own state. Washington State, another Somali hotspot. There are 539 childcare centers in Washington State that list Somali as the primary language. Most don't even give a street address. I don't know how many of these are submitting fraudulent claims for state grants and subsidies, but I have a strong hunch the number is not zero. That is not 539. The population, the Somali population out there isn't even that big. Like, under 10,000. At least allegedly. Going by the official numbers, which knows. I tried searching my own state, and unfortunately, I believe the Virginia website does not allow you to search by language, which sucks. Search for childcare, come on. Yeah, see? Doesn't let you search by language. The Fairfax County one does let you, but there's not really all that many. Oh, here we go. Do they let you search? Oh my gosh. The Somali Childcare Provider Alliance. Or Supportive Childcare Provider Alliance. Somali Language Access. And you have a nice little website. 10 steps to starting a childcare business. In Somali. Oh. Wow. Ah, here's one. Trusted Care. Did they let you search by language? Nope. Weird, they have a languages spoken data point, but they don't let you search by that. Yeah, some locations don't make it easy, unfortunately. Let's try Maryland. Or DC. No language filter. Ugh. Same one, yep. Oh, look at that. Hold on. Childcare subsidy data. Okay. See that. Darn it. Type it in down here. Data.o. Oh no, come back here. Gov/childcare subsidy. Oh, this is like a login portal. What the I want to download all your data. Damn it. Ah. 40 facilities supporting Spanish language. They don't have a... Oh, there is a language. How did I miss that? Oh, that's just for the... It's just for user interface. Dang it, man. All right, Maryland. Doesn't let you search by language. Search by facility name. Omar. Let's just try Omar. Common Somali name. They don't give a language slot here. No. No website. There's an address. Capacity for 7. Current subsidy provider. Yes. Ooh, religious exempt. What? Guess they don't have any? I'll buy that. Oh, that's okay. I see. Sorry, the UI is confusing. That's interesting. They have a entire separate tab for unlicensed. Let me try Omar again. Oh, see, there are. Look at that. Under unlicensed. Top 5 most common Somali last names. Ali, Mohammed, Ahmed, Abdullahi, and Aya Hassan or Hussein. Let's try those. Ali. Oh. It's turning up like Alice and all that stuff. Oh. On. Oh, violations. Look at that. Interesting. Okay. Your system's a little clunky. It'll make it easy to search for stuff by language. It sucks, but do a little digging here. Mohammed. Zero, huh? There we go. That could be any number of different non-Somali peoples. Who knows? Could be Somali. Look at that. Violations every single time. Look at that. Supposed to obtain criminal background checks. They're not doing it. Repeat violation. Caregivers are required to annually complete Department Health and Safety Update course. Did not complete. And yet they're still licensed. Like, this is... How about that? Keep that one up. Doesn't say how many it's licensed. Well, I guess they're not licensed, but their capacity. Another Mohammed with violations. Not completing training. Whole bunch of violations here. Background checks. Oh, whoa. That's a buttload. Immunization records. No records of attendance. Wow, that's a big red flag. Based on review of children's record and interview, vendor did not complete documentation that verifies that she has viewed proof of ID for an enrolled child. Oh, no violations there. Give me some more names. Where'd that shit go? There it is. Ahmed. Or Ahmad. Oh. Another repeat violator. No. Wow. Not keeping records. Proof of identity. Not taking attendance. Lack of information on alleged attending children. I wonder how much these people are getting. That's the next thing to check up on. Let me see that. Let me go to my previous one. Okay, is the right one? Yes. I'm gonna see childcare. Oh, okay. There we go. Okay, so primary vehicle for this money is the Child Care and Development Fund, CCDF. Of course, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services issues a block grant to the state. The state lead agency, usually their Department of Human Services or Education or equivalent, receives the millions of dollars. They set the rules, but usually do not handle the daily payouts. It hires a third-party contractor or local child care resource and referral (CCR&R) agency to handle the paperwork. Choke point. A low-income parent applies and gets a certificate or voucher. Parent hires a provider who then gets paid by state, or well, by that third party, I guess. Provider bills the administrator for the hours the child was in care. Administrator wires funds directly to the provider. Okay, so let's see. Okay, honey. Here. I want to find out how we can figure out how much funding they're getting. Nice. Okay. Fairfax County maintains a transparency application that lets you see payments to specific vendors. First stop. Is that the place where we were here? Yes. Okay. And the capacity, which I don't think any of these had. Yep. No capacity listed on these unlicensed ones. FOIA request. If the data isn't in the online portal, which often happens with pass-through federal funds handled by the state, you need to file a FOIA request. Man, it just walks you through everything, dude. Fantastic. Highly recommend all of you start doing this in your respective locations, your home states. Start doing this. Start looking into this. Nonprofit loophole. Providers registered as a 501c3. You don't need the government. Go to the ProPublica Nonprofit Explorer. Which I don't think is the case for these ones, but maybe others. I did, in my searches earlier, I did turn up some that were almost certainly 501c3 nonprofits. They were larger. Okay, well, let's see this transparency application. How does this work? Oh, and you know, what about home health care? There we go. In-home care, Fairfax County. Do they have a provider search? Oh, no, this is... Okay, we provide a listing of private non-agency providers, yeah. Called the Home Care Registry. Yes. Bingo. Gotta check the Autism Center stuff out, too. Okay. Okay, what is this? This is a private thing, private partnership kind of. These are actually run by the county. Probably better off asking the AI. Let's keep going with, we get that transparency set up? Yes, here we are. Allows the public to view budget and expenditure data and specific vendor payments. Interesting. Okay. Search criteria, find vendor. Where's that serial violator at? Is that this one? Yeah. Okay. Zara Mohammed. And was that with 1M? Okay. Hmm. Interesting. Nothing. Hmm. Thing. Really not all that much turning up here. Like they don't have any of that data. Well, weird. I wonder how exactly one goes about finding that. I don't know. Well, I'll have to keep going on that on my own later. Gotta make it confusing. Alright, let's keep looking here. Oh, shit, what was that? It's from a 2018 Minnesota criminal prosecution against Somali daycare fraudsters. In surveillance videos, Somali parents would take their kids to the daycare, check them in, and then just leave with them moments later. The owners of the daycare would then bill the state for a full day of childcare and give the parents kickback payments for being in on the fraud. Wow.
Order for the ski.
Like I said, part of their culture that they love so much.
Work, the daycare centers need to sign up low-income families that qualify for child care assistance funding. These surveillance videos are from a case prosecuted by Hennepin County. They show parents checking their kids into a center only to leave with them a few minutes later. Sometimes no children would show up. But either way, the center would bill the state for a full day of child care. This video from that same case shows a man handing out envelopes of what are believed to be kickback payments to parents who are in on the fraud.
Wow.
Where was the money going? I don't know exactly where it went, but it...
Order for the ski.
Yep. Okay. Let me see if I have anything else tagged. I might have tagged something else in there.
Your thoughts on this? Particularly, the New York Times made this huge thing, whining. What's America going to look like if these right wing fanatics get this moratorium done? You know what? If you read the article, not too shabby, right? I think most Americans say, hey, if the alternative is what I got here, and this is only going to get worse. This is not going to get better. Unless you eradicate it. The way you eradicate it is shut all the programs down. You can't have like little incremental changes in Congress. They all have to go. Rosemary Jinks.
Yeah, I mean, if you look back at our immigration history, you see we had the Great Wave at the turn of the last century, and then we shut off immigration in the 1920s. And surprise, surprise, after World War II, we had the largest growth of the middle class that we've ever had. So we had prosperity during low immigration. And then we passed the 1965 Act, and immigration started growing again, and prosperity started declining again. So, you know, we know what to do here. We know that if you tighten the labor market, you increase wages. It's not that hard. Everyone has heard of the law of supply and demand. It's time to shut it down again. We've had too much for too long. The last 50 years of mass immigration is too much. So shut it down. Let's
completely
start over, figure out where we are, and then we can decide as a nation what immigration policy serves our interests. But nobody's ever asked us. Nobody has ever asked the American people what we want as an immigration policy, and that needs to change. So, we need everyone to help us get to Congress. We're at IAPaction.com or IAProject.org. We need you to help us. We've got a congressional immigration rating system at IAPaction.com where you can see exactly where your members of Congress stand, what they have been doing on the immigration issue. And we need your help to move them, to get them to understand the devastating impacts that immigration is having on our country, whether it's through the theft of welfare dollars, whether it's through, overcrowded schools and hospitals and housing and, all the rest of it, whether it's taking our jobs at the lower end of the economic scale and at the higher end through the H-1B program and the L-1 program and all the other myriad visas that we have. We need to shut it all down and start over.
Yep. Bingo. I saw Walking On just a couple of minutes ago asking when is the pipe bomb hearing thing tomorrow. I believe it is 1:30 p.m. And again, if any hosts happen to be listening in and you like covering my time slot, I probably need it. I don't think I'll be able to go and then be back in time. I might be able to. Depends how long the thing lasts.
What time today?
Tomorrow. 5 to 7.
Yeah, I can just stay in the tavern.
Cool. Okay. And then if I get back in time, then I'll come on. But just so I have coverage, just in case. Yeah.
All right, good to go.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well,
how you two doing? How you been?
We're doing good.
Yeah.
How was your Christmas?
It was awesome. How about you?
Good. I'm glad it's over, and I can't wait until New Year's is over.
Yeah. I hear that.
Yeah. It's just like, it's just, I don't know. It just is weird. You want things to get done, and so you figure maybe you'll push and maybe something will happen, if I let's get on with next year,
Right.
Nonchalantly.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think 2026 is going to be a good year.
Yeah. Well, he called out Pam Bondi again, so maybe she'll.
Oh.
I don't know.
Yeah, crack the whip. Good.
Yeah. I mean, the evidence is there. I don't know what else you need. I mean, are they. Screw who's getting the money overseas. They'll rat them out.
So crazy.
Just put some cuffs on them and they'll rat out anybody.
What's the holdup? Just get on with it.
I mean, that's if you have to, then pour some water on them.
There you go. Yep.
So it is what it is.
Indeed.
You know, let's get it going.
I know. Yeah. People are getting impatient.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if they don't do something, I think it's going to hurt them in the primaries.
Yeah,
That's
we're
the
gonna be
thing.
so screwed in the midterms. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I'll let you two get to it.
All right. Good to go.
Have a good show.
All righty.
See ya.
Hello, Miss Barbin.
All right, YouTube. Well, I guess that does it for me. I'll be back. Wait, it's Monday. I don't know. Am I gonna be? I guess it depends on whether Badass Uncle Sam comes in tonight. I'm not sure if he's able to tonight. So we'll see. I might see you later this evening. Might not. But if not, I will definitely be here tomorrow morning. So I will see you then. All right. Bye-bye. Oh, and I'll probably live stream from DC, specifically for you YouTube folks. I will live stream from DC after the pipe bomb hearing tomorrow, which I will be covering for Headline USA, by the way. So that ought to be fun. Should be an interesting day. So I will see you guys when I see you. Have a great rest of your day.